eyes now.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Roll With It. No, my camera's wrong. I forgot to change it. Hi there, everybody.
Oh, no.
Welcome to Roll With Advantage. You can't even see how cool it looks right now. Welcome to Roll With Advantage. It is great to be here. Is this not working? Bro, stop.
I don't know what's happening. We were so ready.
Yeah.
We were.
I wasn't.
Well, yeah.
Wait, can this not send to two separate sources? That's the entire point. I'm so defeated right now. Wait.
Okay, it gives me time to write my summary.
Oh yeah, do it. Okay, so there's that. There's that. There's that. Oh wait, resolution type. Here we go. 1920 by 1080. That didn't work. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. This is awful. Why does this only ever happen to me? Okay, what if I delete that? What if I add a new source? You're gonna be here with me while I figure this out.
Why are you on the same thing that we are? Never mind. I'm just gonna let you figure it out. Why should you have to explain it to me?
You know, Felicity, that's actually a great question, and it's what I used to do. But then I found, and this is not me vamping at all. But then the issue that I discovered was whenever somebody would leave the call or like disconnect or something on accident, it would also move me around. And that wasn't very cash money. So I changed it. But now I'm discovering that NVIDIA Broadcast cannot export to two separate sources. Which is rather tragic in the grand scheme of things.
Maybe John can do the summary while you figure it out.
That's a great idea. Let's go ahead and roll the intro, and then we can do that. All
right. Thanks for listening. Now I have to figure it out.
Hey,
even faster.
you had plenty of time.
But also, I messaged you about it in days ago.
Look, I improv a lot of summaries, so you got this.
Oh, this one's gonna be. I'm reading over Mark's thing. Like, not look. Last session, very short.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I was going to take more time.
I mean, those were some meaty conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of info in them.
Alright, I'm gonna read your summary, Mark.
All right, we're back.
What's the difference?
I still don't have a video, but I'll fix that in a second. All right, with that, this is Roll With Advantage. I don't do the summary. I have my players do the summary. So this week on summary is
Me.
John. Take it away, Jonathan.
Speak slowly.
Nah, I fixed it. Just nobody be a bitch and leave the call.
Okay.
Last session.
Please stop.
Sorry.
Are you doing a voice, John?
Keep
Last
doing the
session.
voice.
Oh, last session. Boulder King. No. Last session. A very short session. But some things did happen. First thing that happened. Balder showed up, knocking on Cecily's door at night. Not the best of times. Balder came to Cecily with a situation, a kind of truce that he wanted to propose to her. Cecily not so much taking it immediately. Conversation ensued. Balder let Cecily know that Odin's magic, all of his magic, comes from, well, not all of it, most of his magic comes from the spear that he wields. It grants him access to every spell known in everywhere. He also brought up this magical noose that, should we go searching for it, might find it by talking to Freya. After that conversation, Cecily slamming the door on Balder's face. We panned over the Sunni. Sunni went into, I think he went outside to meditate. Yes, that happened. Oh, sorry.
Good, buddy.
I'm not. I'm having a rough time. Suni went outside to meditate while Carasilla and Bianca, Carasilla coming to Bianca, talking about the resurrection of one of either Keothi or Natalia coming up, well, now. Carasilla making the point that her vote mostly rests with Keothi. However, the entire party taking plenty of time to figure out who they are going to resurrect with the help of the dwarves, given only one that can come back. The party, while Bianca is in her room, conversed. Ajax, Suni, Cecily, and Carasilla. Ajax was on the agreement that he is okay with whatever's happened, but he votes for Natalia. However, it seems that the party's consensus is to bring back Keothi, maybe. We're still kind of hashing out the details, not really. While that was happening, Ajax took food to Bianca and had a conversation with her, very heartfelt conversation with Bianca about what is going on and what the party is thinking, and to not let her suppress the emotions that she's feeling and to allow her to feel what she should be. But after that conversation, Bianca and Ajax left the room and reconvened with the party, and then Joe's internet crashed. That's it.
Okay, thanks. That was awesome.
It was rough.
Yeah, okay. So, no, Mark. This is what I said this at the beginning that nobody. Okay. So, picking up where we left off, yes, that is true. Our group of adventurers find themselves still within the city of Caledarian. City of the Dwarves. They still have a few key things left on their list to do before they return to Periton and then eventually to Maester to solve the underlying issues within the Old Kingdom. So, right off the bat, our group of adventurers have one final very difficult decision. Part of me doesn't even want to look at the string. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's just my forehead and Felicity's chin that is on the DM. I mean, John just doesn't have a forehead now. Oh,
It's just my teeth.
That
There you are.
That wasn't my call. That wasn't my call.
okay. Oh my goodness. Also, before we dive in too far, be sure to check out Solvis Emorial in the chat right now. Look at him spewing out links and shit. We have our own
So funny.
custom bot. It's Emorial. Yeah, that's the real question. Which one? I don't know. It's doing a good job. So we'll say that it's white and gold Emerald, not purple and black.
I love how they color coded.
They are to make it easier.
I have to change my name on Twitch. I wasn't able to last time I tried.
I think it's once a month.
Yeah, okay, let's... We can all move on.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can do
I think
that.
we gotta hurry up. Joe's internet might crash again.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I don't. Okay. So,
Jesus Christ.
picking up from there, our adventurers have finally settled on a decision. For the most part, amongst the group of them, they decided that it is in their best interest, regardless of personal decisions or personal feelings, that Keothi should be the individual that they attempt to bring back to their world. Okay. Thanks, John. The person that they bring back to the land of the living. Now, what I will say is, while all of you have made a decision internally, individually, due to my internet cutting out, which is now fixed. So fingers crossed, won't be an issue today, since it hasn't been for the past 3 streams. While that decision has been made individually, the group has not come together to say, this is what we're going to do. And on top of that, you still need to inform King Borelli of that decision, because the thing is, making the weapons, that was his say, but it was mostly up to the Forge Master, Durge. But in terms of bringing a soul and creating a material body for it to return into, that is something that requires the king's blessing, which is something he's already offered, but there's an air of formality to it. So before all of you can go through with the ritual, you must come together as a group, say this is what we're doing, and then as a group go to the king and tell him that that is what your intention is. So with that, where we're going to pick up is mid-afternoon. This, of course, is after everybody has woke up. They've had their conversations that led up to the moment that we ended on last week. And now our party, they have to confer. So I'll say that in this moment, all of you had kind of been off in your own areas, collecting your thoughts, doing what needs to be done. And you all now know that a vote must be made, but that Bianca has decided to remove herself from the voting process. So my question is, who's collecting everybody for the vote?
I mean, Carousel can.
Okay. So one by one. Yeah. Minus Bianca's door. Everybody receives a knock to do their due diligence. Is there any way in particular that you all react to the knock specifically? So Cecily, Ajax, and then Bianca, I'll have a question for you in a second. But when Cecily hears the knock from Carasilla, what's going through her head in that moment, knowing what the conversation is going to be about?
After hashing it out with Suni and with everybody else, minus Bianca at the table, I think she's just kind of... She's resorting to old strategies of just kind of putting it in a box, emotionally speaking, at this point. So she's just going to take a single deep breath and answer the door and nod to Carasilla, not thinking that words are really needed. We all know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Carasilla, you collect Cecily. You head to Ajax's door. You knocked for him. Ajax, knowing what this conversation is going to be about the fate of Keothi or Natalia, what's Ajax thinking when she knocks on the door?
I think it's anxiousness. He's thinking more so that although this wouldn't be the decision he would make, he's coming to terms with it, and I think he's also thinking about what Bianca is thinking about right now.
Okay. Alrighty. So Carasilla, he answers the door, and he also comes with you. You can see there's a weight on Ajax's shoulders, more so than normal. As you knock at Suni's door, Suni, when you hear the knock from Carasilla, knowing that this is the sort of final ballot being cast as to who to resurrect and who to leave in their final rest, what thoughts are going through Suni's head?
I'd say that Suni probably can't quite shake the image of Keothi that he saw when he was meditating earlier, like that very last, before he slipped out of that. And that kind of picture has been weighing on him a lot, and then can't quite shake that eerie connection that was there. So he's probably fairly distant.
Okay. Yeah. And Carasilla, you can see that as you open the door. For somebody who typically is pretty smiley and kind and at times juvenile, there is this aged solemnness to them as you open the door. And then, Carasilla, you walk past Bianca's door. No knock, as she's not part of this vote.
I mean, I will say, because I'm assuming that we'd want to speak to the king after this conversation, yes? Rather than leave it another day.
Correct, yeah.
And so, Carasel's not going to ask Bianca to come with, but she will just softly knock at the door. She's not going to open it unless Bianca really is eager to. And she'll just say that it's obviously happening and that plan to speak to the king afterwards. Just she knows. But yeah, she'll leave her to her space though.
Yeah, she'll say thank you through the door. But yeah.
Bianca, as you can hear all of them sort of walk away from the small interconnected living area, what thoughts are going through Bianca's head?
She's thinking about just both people involved in it. And I think she's definitely leaning on the Raven Queen right now of just like putting it in someone else's hands, not just the Raven Queen, but like their hands has just been so helpful for her. And she's very much focusing on being thankful that she has these people and some higher being to lean on. I think that's what she's focusing on right now.
Okay. Alrighty. So, as all of you walk away and you begin to head towards the small sort of central area where all of you had been eating breakfast, where you've sort of been having these group meetings in this particular city, Carasilla being the person gathering everybody for this sort of dreaded vote, what thoughts are going through Carasilla's head?
And I think just naturally, but especially for this, she's just been taking in everyone's reactions, seeing how deflated everyone is. And I think obviously she recognizes that this decision hurts no matter what way people are voting. But also that, you know, they've had a previous conversation. Everyone kind of knows where the votes will lie. So she's just been thinking about that, I suppose, as she's gathered everyone.
Okay. Yeah, totally makes sense. So, with that, all of you, except for Bianca, gather around the table. And as all of you sit down, you know what needs to be done. And my question is, who is breaking the ice in this situation? Who's starting the conversation?
I feel like Carasilla very much will. She was the one that rounded everyone up. I feel like it makes sense as well. Obviously, this is something we've spent a lot of today on. And of course, every decision that we have, I think it needs to be a group decision. It needs to be something that's voted on. But I still think it is a decision that no one wants to make. A choice no one wants to make. And so I think there might not even need to be a vote. If everyone else is alright with it. I believe from the discussions this morning we know that it's Keothi that we will try to bring back. And I'm not sure how much sense there is in forcing everyone to say it, to admit it. I know it's certainly something that Bianca is not ready to do yet. And so it's not something that I want to push on to anyone else. We need to talk to the king about it, yes. We need to perform the ritual, yes. But if this is something that we're all aware of, we can move forward as it is. I'm happy to be the one to say it to the king.
Cecily will she'll nod. And again, just sort of this like slow, heavy, almost sort of meditative breath in and out. I think you're right.
Oh, Suni. You there, Cameron?
Sorry, what did you say?
Just looking to Suni how he feels of just
Oh.
like not going through a vote.
Yes, sorry. Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, he's not gonna make eye contact really with anybody, but he'll just also kind of give a small nod of his head, and say, yeah, I think that's for the best. Thank you, Caricilla.
Ajax?
I do appreciate you being the head of the conversation. This is a hard decision. I am in agreement. I think we should also try to talk to the Forge Master again about what we can do about Natalia's soul. If this is our decision,
I think it has to be. But first of all, we need the king's blessing, so I think that should be the first matter. Don't think we'd be able to move too forward with what happens to Natalia. I think Bianca should be there for that, and I don't want to ask any more of her today.
will anyone be staying here with Bianca if we go to the king?
I want to be there for the ritual with Kyo. If it's anything like what they did with me, I think I want the chance to return the favor. But before that, I think I will. If other people want to take the lead, I wouldn't mind just sitting around with her, if nothing else.
I was going to suggest that I could stay back with her as long as you retrieve us before the ritual.
Wouldn't be surprised if it takes some time to prepare before everything can start, so I'd certainly do that. Or if not, I'll be able to send a message to you.
I'm not the greatest when it comes to talking, so my expertise are best used to protect people. I can stay here if you all want to go to the king.
You can do that.
Cecily will glance to it at Suni and Caricilla. I take it we're gonna be the ones making the offerings during the ritual, right? So maybe we should sort that out anyway.
I am sorry that I won't be able to bring anything to this ritual.
I think your support is more than enough. Mullen and I didn't have any part in Cecily coming back. I think sometimes it just helps to know that there's someone else there.
You have the other big burden here, Ajax. Don't feel like you're not pulling your weight.
I appreciate that. I do have an idea to possibly calm Bianca while you're gone.
Interesting.
Ajax just kind of looks at Cecily like, oh, did you want to know?
Yeah, she's kind of one eyebrow raises, silence, second eyebrow raises.
There is only a couple things I'm very good at, and one of them is swinging a weapon. Training,
Oh, okay.
yes.
I thought you were gonna fight her. Okay.
She
makes
would
more sense.
she would win.
Right. Well, in the meantime, I guess I need to figure out what I'm offering. I don't, own much, so... Well... I guess we might as well get going then, right?
Probably a good thing to speak to him before it gets too late. Yeah. Guess the three of them will go seek out the king.
Yeah, Cecily
Okay.
will be the first to stand. She's in finish this process at 5 years from now mode.
Okay. Alrighty. Very good. So, the three of you stand, and Ajax, you return to Bianca's room to retrieve her, but the rest of you do continue on to the King's Chamber, making your way throughout the keep here in the city of Kaladarian. Go ahead and move you to that map. Easy enough. You can make your way in there, and the sounds of smithing and the sounds of the ambient life in the city fade. All that remains is the low, reverential tones of the city of Kaladarian that echo throughout these stony halls. You can see that as you walk back towards the king's chamber, you're reminded of the great smiths and masons, the great craftsmen, the great warriors, the great people of the Mazdrum Mountains, of these dwarves in particular. As your entire walk there, you are surrounded by statues of individuals that hold or wear the item that they invested their soul into upon their death. So, as you walk throughout, you can see hundreds of names from side to side of the great dwarves that lived in the city. Eventually, you enter into the king's chamber, a very simple room. A very stark contrast to the halls that you had been walking through before. And as I said before, there is a very simple hearth to the left and to the right. And in the very middle of the room sits one singular stone slab, where the king himself sits on. Not a great throne fit for a king, but a resting place fit for a craftsman. As he sits on his throne, on his slab, he sees all of you enter. A smile illuminates his face, and he speaks.
Well, hello. I'm very happy to make your acquaintance once again. I assume that you come to me because you wish to fulfill some of the other offers I made in my letter. Is that true?
Yes, particularly the offer of being able to bring us all back. I believe as a collective, we've discussed our possibilities for that. And we've made a decision on who we would like to be able to complete the ritual for.
A very difficult decision, I'm sure it was. Well, I'm glad to hear that you've made your choice. I will have the materials gathered, and the ritual will be performed as soon as the materials have been found. It should take 4 or 5 hours. Dirge will be the one communing, but I will be there as well to give my blessing. I'm sure all of you are already aware, but there is a process to these things. And since there is no physical form for your companion to return to, the process is even more difficult. But it is not impossible. 3 of you must present gifts, offerings. They do not need to be physical, mind you. They can be spiritual. They can be immaterial. They can be ideas or concepts that mean a great deal to the one you wish to call back to this land. The stronger the connection, the easier the return will be. Remember, this individual's soul may be lost and may need extra help returning to a physical form that is not its own. Dirge will do his best to recreate the physical form to the best of the feeling he receives, but they may be different when they return, so be mindful of that. We work with iron and stone. Your friend may look different, but it will be them. Prepare yourselves, even for those that are not being returned. It can be a draining, difficult process. Best to bring your strength.
You can see he finishes up there. If any of you have any questions, you're free to ask, or you can just begin to prepare yourselves for the ceremony to come.
Cecily's wondering if we should mention the turning the other soul into the artifact right now, too.
I was literally about to ask.
Yeah.
Do we want to bring that up now? Because we don't really know what we're doing with it yet. Okay, just bring up the possibility. Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Yep.
There's one other thing. It's not asking for too much. There's another soul, not the one we are trying to perform the ritual with. But the mother of Bianca. I'm unsure of any specifics or what she would wish for anything to happen. But would it be possible, I suppose, to bring her soul back into, I believe armor was the route she was going to go.
You can see the king. He nods, and he says,
That is indeed very possible. This soul, I'm assuming one of you must... It was Bianca, you said, correct?
Yes, her mother.
She will need to be present, as that is where the strongest connection lies. But that is something that can be done.
Yes,
I would prefer it is done before the return of, or the attempted return of your companion. But as Dirge and the rest of you may be quite exhausted from the process.
Understand, then. I'm not sure if she'd be up to doing it today, is the only problem. Yes, okay. But
Yes.
I suppose
Now
we
is
can
fine.
talk to her and
just
get back to
imagine-
fuck.
She's like, I don't think she can. Wait, I'm getting something? Okay, she can.
I just look down and just like see her frantically dusting it. Anyway,
We're getting word from our guys in the field. She is ready today.
we'll be back later, I guess.
More on that at 7. Amazing.
But yes, I suppose if any preparations can be done for that, we can let you know an answer if we can perform it today or not.
Very well. If she is ready, Dirge will be at the forge, and he will know of what she wishes. So if she is ready, she may go to him at any time. But as I said, when the materials are ready, I will have Vondor come and find all of you, and we may begin the ritual.
Thank you. I appreciate this greatly. You've been a help for so many things.
You can see he smiles and nods, appreciative of the kind words. But with that, there is nothing else from him that he would like to share with you.
No. I mean, unless anyone else has, I suppose, like, you know, respectful nod, bow, whatever, and just take our leave.
Okay. Alrighty. Very cool. So, with that, all of you gather yourselves and you head back to your living quarters. However, Bianca and Ajax, something you wished to accomplish. So while that is happening, Ajax, as you see them walk towards the king's chamber, you begin to walk over towards Bianca's door.
Before he walks over to Bianca's door, he's gonna wait maybe 5-10 minutes. He knows that the walk. Well, we're inside. We're inside the keep itself, right? So the walk to the king's chamber is how long?
Maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh shit. Okay. He's going to, I guess, watch them walk off. Go to his room first. Grab his spear and shield.
Mm-hmm.
On the back. Not the spear on the back. He's gonna actually kind of walk with it. He's gonna walk up to Bianca's door and knock on
He
it.
opens the door.
Hello.
Hello.
I need your help.
Okay.
So, I just got this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I need someone to train with.
I can help. And she'll go ahead and start to grab her weapons and armor that she does have. What?
You don't. It's fine. Get it all. Doesn't matter.
What? Okay.
I didn't want to make you get everything. You just need your sword. But if you want the
Oh,
armor, that's fine.
Oh,
I'm not
fine.
going
I'll
to
just
hit you.
take my okay, fine. Sword only.
All right. Sure, you don't want the armor.
I'm bringing the gun. You should wear armor.
I don't
I'm
have.
kidding. She puts the gun down.
Okay.
And I guess we walk into the open area.
Sure, there's
Unless-
like a sparring area.
Yeah, but Joe's gone, so.
Well, that means you and Mark, the two other DMs, can make a sparring area.
So we walk
Yeah,
out
just
the
decide. You
side.
can decide anything.
We
You
walk
are
out
the
the
DM now.
side door, down a set of stairs, and there's an area for
All
sparring.
right.
It's
Wow.
crazy. It
Convenient.
just spawned.
Wild.
It's like in a it's in a
Minecraft.
video game when you look to a certain direction, it just comes into view.
Loads.
I have nothing to add. You're spot on.
Oh, there he is. Look, the camera.
Wonderful
is
DMing.
catching him.
The camera's found him.
That's funny.
Joe, I had to spawn a sparring area because you weren't here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's plenty of those. I mean, really more so what it's like in the keep itself is there are like these stone gardens that have really, really big wide open areas. Because a lot of what the keep is dedicated for is for like either silent meditation or reverential thought. But also, there's a lot of weapons and armor in this area, so you can easily retrofit one of these stone gardens into a sparring arena. You can put little rocks to dedicate, where like what's in, what's out, and other things that you would need in a sparring arena. I'm sure your description was beautiful.
Yeah, we walked out to the right, went down some stairs, and there was a sparring area.
See, I didn't even include directions. I just said you find one.
It was down to the right, down some stairs. That's where we went. So we go to the sparring area. Ajax is kind of just looking at this spear, great spear, and he just. You could see that he's normally like he trains all the time. He knows how to train people. You can tell there's a little bit of like, I don't know what this thing does. And he just looks to Bianca and says,
I've never actually used a spear.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
really.
You have an extreme advantage over me because you have long range now and I have short range.
Well, I had
So,
to figure out how to use it.
that's true. I have 0 experience as well with a spear, so I guess trial and error. What do you remember from when you were the captain of the guard? I'm sure plenty of them have spears.
It really wasn't my thing. Swords, hammers, axes, big weapons I can slam down on people.
Maybe like, so there's a lot involved in that spear right now. So like maybe since there's like a magical attunement, there'll be some sort of innate guidance. So you don't have to think too hard about it. You just kind of do it. Maybe.
I'm just now realizing, have you ever trained before? Or has everything just kind of been reactionary?
So I mean, you know my parents, so they trained me, but not like what you went through. So just whatever my dad taught me, which is why I use weapons similar to him. But yeah, and then the rest was reactionary.
Well, I'm going to...
he's going to turn the spear upside down, where the pointed is not facing Bianca.
I'm going to start swinging at you, and I want you to try to parry my attacks. I just don't want to accidentally stab you.
Literally, I stab myself for more power, so it's fine. I'm a blood hunter.
Right. We'll come back to that.
All right, well.
And he's gonna swing while she's like thinking.
Okay.
But obviously he's not trying to hit Bianca. But
No?
Ajax is gonna test Bianca's like reaction to the swing.
Yeah,
You're
I
probably
leave.
gonna hit her.
Yeah, I leave this up to you guys. I mean, you guys can roll versus AC, or you can just say some shit. I'm cool either way. Do what you want.
She has her armor class is 16. you're probably gonna hit her, especially if she's thinking right now.
Okay.
But
so
you can also roll if you want. Oh, okay.
No, I don't. And I don't want to actually hit or do. If he's gonna actually hit you, and he's gonna stop like right here.
He'll like finally like as her head was like somewhere else, will like kind of clue in, like turn and look at it with almost like a little like squint and be like, okay, all right. And then she gets out her sword.
Were you never taught to always be on guard?
I just said no formal training. I've just had to go with the flow.
Well, now it is time.
He's going to spin the spear to the pointy side.
Block.
He's going to swing again.
Okay, and she, unless you want to roll. Do we want to roll now? I don't know how to come up
Do you
with...
want to roll? We can roll.
I would like to roll, because I
Okay,
can't... I'm
I'm
like,
gonna roll.
oh, it rocks.
Okay, I'm gonna roll. Okay, I rolled really well.
Oh, good.
No, I don't want to hit you.
I thought you said you rolled really low.
No, well.
Oh. Well, don't do that.
Where's my abilities? Where is my stuff? Here it is.
What was
Oh, it's
the flat...
If my flat roll was an 18,
Oh, you hit her.
so 28.
Jesus fuck, she's on the ground.
I'll say that he sweeps the legs. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not gonna ever hit you and deal damage, but sweeps the legs out from under you.
Okay. And you can see as soon as she gets her bearings, she's a reactionary fighter. So you can actually see, like, Bianca's a very calm, level-headed person. When she's not is when she's fighting. And so she kind of, like, with a front that you just don't see, it's just a lot more, like, focused and aggressive than she ever really is. Will just kind of get up real quick and take a swing at you.
Go ahead. He doesn't have a shield on, so his armor class is 17.
Okay.
I think. Is the shield a +2, Joe?
Your shield?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure your shield is just a +1.
It's +3,
Oh my god.
so it's a 16. Oh my god.
Well,
Doesn't even matter. 20.
yeah. So,
Oh, I see what you meant. Sorry, it's a +3 total because a shield is +2 automatically,
Yep.
and then it's a +1 shield.
Yeah.
yes. Anyway, so she's a dex fighter, so it was probably, and so you see maybe the training or any sort of guidance from her mother come out, and so it's just almost like a rogue where it's like you totally see everything that happens, but it's just really fast and swift, and then it's right at your neck instead of like pointing in any sort of direction. Just the sword is right there.
He looks down, kind of pushes it over.
That was very good.
Thank you. And she'll like calm down a little bit.
He's going to try to disarm your sword by using the spear and pulling it away.
Okay, go for it. Would that be also like a grapple technically as well? Like a
I mean,
into her arm?
Joe?
Yeah, sure. It's contested grapple.
Okay. So if it's contested grapple is my strength, so it's 19.
Oh,
plus
no.
4.
And then that means, Bianca, you get to make a contested check, so it's an athletics or acrobatics check.
You're doing acrobatics.
So 23 total.
Not good. 20.
Ooh.
Still win.
So Ajax is going to use the spear to kind of like wrench your arm like to the side, and then use his hand, or I guess his foot, onto the blade and push it down to disarm you. And he's going to spin the spear over to your neck.
Okay.
I said, always be on your guard.
She will shadow slide out of your grip. Maybe even like when she... That might be a little too roguish, never mind. So wait, are you holding the sword as well? Her sword,
No,
or
so
just...
he just used the spear to like wrench your hand down and then push the sword out of your hand with his foot. So he's not
Okay.
actually technically holding you.
Okay. Wait, was it you were holding, I'm sorry, I got lost again. You were holding the sword or Bianca?
I guess I grappled Bianca with my spear and like my arm, and then pushed the sword out of your hand with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like,
all right, yeah.
like
She'll
push down on it. Yeah.
Gotcha. She'll shadow slide out of his grip. I guess probably then try and get the sword as well. And then take a defensive position instead of attack, and just say, normally I would use my gun in these moments, so.
What happens if you don't have it?
I run.
Well, probably smart.
You're stronger than me.
Not faster.
So I run.
You should use that to your advantage. Also,
That's
how
what
did
our
you do
groups
that?
will do. Shadow slide?
He's just like looking at it, like, what the hell?
What, you can't do nothing like that?
No.
So, what can this spear actually do besides a typical spear?
He kind of holds it, and after a little bit, you do watch him like spin the spear, like he actually does know how to use a spear. He was just kind of bluffing. And he is going to...
Well, I think it can... Is it called... It has some sort of radiance to it. I think it's blessed by Leos. Like I said, I talked to him. It can also... Well... I have a feeling.
And he kind of looks around. Joe, is everything around here destructible?
With that magical spear in particular, yeah, you can break rocks.
I don't want to. Is there any spot that like I could do this and not destroy the patio?
Well, no, it's like a stone garden, so it's just like a whole bunch of boulders and rocks.
Oh.
So by breaking the rocks, you're really just adding more rocks to the rock garden.
Okay, so he is going to turn his back to Bianca, not facing her, and he's going to just take the spear, and he doesn't really know, he just has an inkling, and he's going to, like, well, it's the first time he's used it, okay?
Oh, you said inkling. It's inkling. It's okay.
I won't use that word ever again.
No,
Dong
no.
Rider.
He has a hunch. He slams it down and jumps up in the air as high as he can. But then I guess because of the spear, you watch. What?
You shoot up 15 feet in the air. Bolts of gold and white lightning clinging to your body. And then you can come crashing down anywhere within, I think it's 15 feet of where you launched up.
Yeah. So he jumps, and I guess the lightning follows, and then points in a direction and slams down with the spear. And lightning in a cone.
Yeah.
Shocks the ground.
10 feet around you, just... There is a cacophony of lightning bolts that strikes the boulders, cracking some in half, some in quarters, and turning some into pebbles. And you can't do that again until another dawn.
Hopefully there's not combat.
We have to fight Keothi. Bianca's like eyes are huge. Yeah, that's why I would run from a fight with you. Oh, you don't need a shadow slide? Shit.
Okay, to be fair, I think I can only do that once a day.
I would have died.
You would have been...
Actually, I
It
probably would have been
would
okay.
have really
but
hurt.
yeah. Ooh, that was
That was
insane.
pretty cool.
that'll be very useful in the upcoming weeks.
So, Bianca, if you would allow, I think every morning you should get up and train with me. I mean, you can rely on your gun if you want to.
No, I need another teacher. Besides my father, I had another short-lived teacher. I could use more training for sure, and not relying on my gun so much. And not running so much.
Just as long as you're behind me.
Well, when you're down, which seems to be frequent, someone's got to protect everybody else,
We don't have to talk about that.
Then stop doing that. Won't be a problem then.
You're right. I will attempt to not do that anymore. I can't make any promises, though. I am usually... well, I am the biggest target, so it's easiest to hit me, I guess.
But I guess maybe if you're training me on how to just be a better close combat fighter, I should probably train you on when it is to run away. When you're not gonna win the fight, and when it'd be better to dip.
You know, my entire life, I've been trained to run at battle. Never run away. I could use a little bit of teaching in that.
Yeah. And then she'll like super quickly shadow slide behind him and then do again like the sword, like he can feel it, like just barely poking on his back.
Good job.
Always be
You
alert.
learned your first lesson.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just Ajax will just spar with her and kind of teach her melee combat skills while we're out there.
Now I'll
Wait,
take a barbarian. Let's start multi-classing now.
It fits. It works. Alrighty. So cool. Yeah, the two of you spend a fair bit more time training, but eventually, as the rest of the party returns to the common living areas, all of you notice that Ajax and Bianca are nowhere to be found. They don't seem to be here, and I guess it's up to you if all of you would like to go looking for them or just wait for them to return.
I sort of want to wait for them to come back in their own time. I don't think she wants to push Bianca too much. So yeah, just happy to just wait.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty. So you wait for a little while, and I'd say eventually after maybe an hour, maybe hour and a half at the most, the two of them do return. They are covered in dust and a little bit of dirt, some stone pebbles stuck in Ajax's mane and around the white furs. They're definitely a little bit easier to tell. Both of them are pretty sweaty. They seem a little out of breath. You can definitely tell that they were training as the two of them return. So, as the two of them return, you can see that they've obviously told the king of the decision, and it's up to you guys to figure out when you want to go do things. So Bianca can either go before the ritual or she can wait until after. It's entirely up to you all.
Well, if the king recommended that the ritual with my mother's soul be sooner rather than later, then we should probably do that. I don't want to go against his best judgment.
Well, apparently all we need to do is let the Forge Master know.
Right. She will just take a moment and just kind of look to everyone and say, thank you guys for being so understanding and patient with me.
Before you go,
So,
Ooh. 3 people. I don't know who goes first.
That's all right.
I was
Somebody
just gonna say,
go.
Cursor was gonna like just move over to Bianca and just have her arm around her. But I imagine they're gonna be heading up soon. You not.
Okay. Cecily was gonna say, before you go, I have something that you might be able to help with. I don't know. What you want to figure out if you're able to help me with something?
Yeah.
And then maybe help me with something? Okay, cool.
What would that be, Cecily?
So you know how the one time with the creator, there was a sign that had a bunch of nonsense writing on it, but for some reason I was able to read it?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how sometimes I'm just able to do things, and I don't understand why or where they came from, and I don't figure that out until later?
Mm-hmm.
I think for the past few months I've known another language. I never said that out loud because it sounds fucking insane, but I think I... Long story short, I kind of want to get ready for the ritual, so... And you're smart, and I don't know anything about language, so I was hoping you could maybe help a bit with whatever nonsense comes out.
Sure. Yeah. As in, you want to write something in the language or speak it? Do you just want to speak to Keothi in that language?
See, in my head, it's all wind sounds.
Yeah, it sounds
So I
like
don't-
primordial, which is basically nature speak.
Well, yeah. I'd like to sort that out if you don't mind.
Sure. Joe, and primordial, is it ever... Because Cecily's been reading things, but how do you write primordial? I don't think Bianca would know too much besides that it's a language, right?
So primordial as a written language is very simple. Where there are different... So there's like 4 different sub-languages of primordial. There's like Aquan, and 3 others for the 4 different elements. I can't remember their names. But they're really simple, where they're more ideas or concepts that are conveyed through a written language, not like words in a dictionary, if that makes any sense. So I would say she has a passing familiarity with it because a lot of really, really, really old, not books, but like tablets, like ancient world history was written in primordial, and it was written on these like stone tablets, or carved into walls in the mountains of various regions. So she would have like I said, a passing familiarity with it. But like she's not a master by any stretch of the imagination, but she could help a little bit.
Okay.
She's smart enough.
I think I'll go an idea for Cecily. So she will get some paper and a writing utensil, and sit Cecily down and say, so as you've been able to tell, it's not complex. And I think not just with your connection to the storm, but Keothi's connection to the earth, they aren't the same, but they go well together. What I would suggest is, if you don't feel confident writing in the language right away, or if you don't even feel confident writing in it, write out a memory or a feeling or advice or whatever you're trying to convey to Keo through Primordial first. Just write it out in Common or whatever language you feel comfortable in. And then you can either translate it over, or you can let Primordial speak for you in the moment, since it is a very evoking language rather than structured.
Okay. Well, here's the actual hard part. I need to figure out what I'm gonna say. And she'll sit there for a small moment, and she will just start to write. She'll write like the first half of a sentence. It'll just say like, your story isn't over, and it'll be in Common, but she'll kind of stop and sort of almost like instinctually put a hand over it as a sudden thought occurs to her. Are you okay with doing this?
I'm okay. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad. But I'd also be lying if I felt like this was a wrong decision.
Okay. And she'll take her hand away from it. You know, I'm really good at this kind of thing when it's not the truth. I have no idea how you're supposed to say all of the good things you have about somebody in your head so well that they might come back.
You don't have to say good things. You don't have to say pretty things or promises. Maybe just start with a list. What did Keo... Who is Keo for you? Who is she for us? Who has she been? And maybe, you know, you don't have to start with Keo. Maybe it'd be easier to practice on somebody else that isn't here, that you miss, that you wish may come back. Sometimes, when you're feeling conflicted potentially about a situation, it's harder to put out those emotions because maybe you're thinking about me and Suni. But maybe if you're just thinking about someone who you just wish you could hear their voice again, who maybe got to stick around a little bit longer with us, practice there.
She'll pause, and she'll kind of slowly start writing something, and she'll keep it kind of, not like, don't look, but she'll kind of keep it sort of close to her and be kind of
She's
shy.
not looking, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Bianca. But yeah, she'll eventually finish up just a sentence or two, And you said it's a language that's mostly about big ideas, right? Not many little words.
Mm-mm.
Maybe that'll actually be easier. Ever since that whole baptism thing in Yggdrasil, I sometimes when everything's really intense, I just get these moments of clarity where there's not really anything in my head but the sound of the world. I guess that's what they kept calling taming the storm while we were up there. It's just been in my head this whole time, but maybe to connect with somebody like Kyo, it might actually be easier not to use words, to use whatever that is. And she'll pause and think for a bit, and she'll attempt to kind of meditatively, with deep breaths, she'll attempt to say what she has written in the error form of primordial. My question is, Joe, fuck does that sound like?
ASMR woof sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Come on, Joe, make up the sound of an entire language on the spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, initially it's hard for you to sort of find your base, just because the sound wind makes, it varies from region to location to biome. The wind, and as it sounds in the plains, is very different than the wind you hear in the mountains. So, in order to sort of bridge that gap, not only do you need to think about the person and the feeling, you need to think about the place. Maybe not the place where it was located, that memory, but the feeling that is synonymous with that place. If it's of, for example, somebody's breathtaking beauty, it's similar to the wind that you hear when you're at the peak of a mountain looking out at the world below you. If it's a feeling of unsettled ease, the wind that sounds in a cold winter forest is what you hear. Things like that. So from there, you can kind of extrapolate how Cecily's wind noises might feel.
God, I love fantasy. I love hearing sentences that make sense. That shouldn't, but she, I think, primarily right now is picturing her first time meeting Keothi, which was, she was in the library of the Fisher estate. She was having a meltdown, and Rose Fisher was like, let's get you somewhere quiet. And just kind of carted her away. And Kyo was just in there chilling and just accepted that, oh, there's a new person here, and she's a hyperventilating mess. That's fine. And just talked to her and was warm the whole time in a way that was almost foreign to Cecily at that time. She's just kind of thinking about that sort of feeling of, you know, almost like a small nook in a gorge, a place where you can hide out when the weather gets bad. Tuck your head, cover yourself with a leaf. And she's just focusing on that and trying to... And I imagine it's sort of like she breathes through pursed lips, but the wind kind of just surrounds, as opposed to like super precise, dexterous whistling.
Yeah. As you speak, you can feel that speaking in primordial isn't just your lips, your lungs. It is this impassioned plea to the elements around you. You speak with nature, not for nature. And what comes out of your mouth and what surrounds the area, and Bianca, you would be able to hear this, it is a very unique sensation that everyone knows. That feeling you get on an incredibly hot summer's day when there is that incredibly cool breeze that just lightly grazes the back of your neck or behind your ear. That just sends that cool shiver down your spine that you just needed in that moment. And you feel that, Bianca. And Cecily, you feel that as well. And it's the same feeling that you had, being removed from the noise, the heat of the Fisher Estate party, and then the coolness that Keothi was when you met her.
She'll kind of, and I imagine her eyes were closed for a bit, focusing, and she'll sort of open them and just... Did any of that come through?
You can see, like, now that you're not focused on, like, trying to be successful with it, there's just one, like, single tear running down her cheek, and she's, like, just nodding. I think you got it.
That was... Didn't really know I could do that. This might be... one of the first gifts that's come out of this whole thing that isn't a weapon.
Sorry you see it that way. I've seen lots of gifts that haven't been weapons. Sheltering the homeless from the rain. Protecting us by either buffing our skill or making us jump incredibly high.
Yeah, I guess the little hand's pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm. You don't need to be ashamed that you're talented. And you also don't need to be bothered by the fact that you're going to keep having surprises. Yours, yes, happen within you. But for a lot of people, surprises happen on minor scales within themselves. It's not unnormal, it's just packaged in an unnormal way.
Oh. As usual, Bianca, I came to you for your book smarts, and I left with your people smarts.
I mean, I'm just telling you what I see. It's not really smarts.
Whatever it is, it's nice. She'll kind of get up. Okay. I think I know what I need to do. we don't ever have to talk about it. Like I said, if you don't want to, but I'm ready to be the apple peeler if you need me to.
I know, thank you.
She'll nod, and she'll make her way off. And her gift that she's going to be thinking about and working on until it's time for the ritual is she's going to find a stone, one that she makes sure she's allowed to take from these people that really, really care about their rocks. And her hope is to, using Primordial and using the Gust cantrip, basically erode a message into the rock for Keothi. Something that's just ideas as opposed to words. And then gift that during the ritual.
Okay, wonderful.
And there we go. I've had Primordial since level 6, so...
Hey, all right.
Glad we took care of that.
Hell yeah. Alrighty. So, with that, Cecily and Bianca finishing up their conversation. Was there anything else anybody wanted to do before handling either the army or the armor or the Keothi resurrection ceremony?
I don't have anything.
Ajax does not.
Okay. Alrighty. So, with that, you all gather yourselves, or is it just going to be Bianca going for the armor? Is everybody going to go with her?
Ajax is.
If people feel called to come, they can. If you want to, you can be there.
Mhm.
It doesn't have
Yeah,
to
be
be
there at least for
everybody.
emotional support, you know.
Yeah.
You guys.
She'll be
Try.
around.
I'll be there, I guess.
The Friends theme song starts playing.
I'll be there for you.
Where'd this couch come from?
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was stupid. I'll die now.
No, it's okay. It was wonderful.
Let's pivot to the next thing on our task list.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, I wanted to let that sit in silence for a little bit. So you all gather yourselves and you head to the Eidolon's Crucible. This area where much reverence is had and that you've already had some use of in your time in the city of Kaladarian. You make your way out of the keep throughout the different thoroughfares and streets in the city till eventually you make your way up the long steps that lead up to the Eidolon's Crucible. As all of you make your way up those stairs, you can see Dirge is there to greet you, and he says, oh, wow, that's funny. I'm so shifty when I'm standing. It's really just, it's going everywhere. That's awesome. Dirge is there to greet you, and he says,
I hope all of you are aware that none of the materials for the resurrection are ready, but the king did inform me of your wish to transform a soul into some type of piece of equipment. I can take care of that now if you're ready.
Yeah. Unlike last time where there was the pieces brought, I don't have anything to bring.
That is all right. What I will say to you now is the base enchantment will not be nearly as strong as the others. But know that the stronger the connection that you have to this person, the stronger the item will be that is made in their honor. Who was this person to you?
My mother.
Well, it is with great reverence and respect that I give this to you.
As you can see, there's a solemn nod, and he takes the very simple hammer off of his waistband and he hands it to you.
And she'll take it.
You saw with Ajax. The connection one has strengthens what we make here. It is a great tragedy to say farewell to a parent, to a close loved one. But if you forge the item, perhaps it will be stronger. I will be here to oversee and make sure nothing happens. But remember, you have nothing to be afraid of. Trust yourself and focus on the love you have for your mother, and she will be there with you.
Thank you.
And you can see he steps back and begins walking towards the anvil at the center of the Eidolon's crucible. And Bianca, you're free to walk up as the rest of you follow suit.
Yeah.
So,
I will.
okay. And everybody follows suit, same as before, sort of that, forming around Bianca just to be close. Okay. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So, all of you stand around Bianca. Bianca, you can feel the weight of the hammer in your hands. It's rather light. I mean, you've been around a forge before. You know what this is supposed to feel like. This feels, it's a wooden haft, but the head of the hammer, while it looks to be metal, it is incredibly light. I mean, you would dare to say that it's heavier than a feather, honestly. The haft of the hammer is heavier than the actual head itself. And as you feel it, you get a rhythm for it before you actually start forging and putting that energy in. As you feel the rhythm, you eventually begin to hear the rhythm as well. Holding the hammer in your hands, you can hear the song of the dwarves singing behind you. You feel the weight, you feel the rhythm. And you find it. And as soon as you find it, you begin bringing hammer to anvil. At first it's small, tunk, 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 but with each hammer impact on anvil, the noise gets louder, the resonance grows louder, until eventually you can hear the rhythm of all the dwarves behind you follow in suit, hammering to the rhythm that you create. And eventually, same as what Ajax saw, you can see hammer fall after hammer fall, matching up with yours, until eventually hundreds of hammers strike at the same time as yours. Hundreds of spirits help you craft this item. And Bianca, as you bring hammer to anvil, what are you thinking about? What memories flood your mind? Where's your mind at right now? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, she's thinking about her mother baking. She's thinking about being at home with her and Belka. She's seeing her and her dad together and the love that they shared together. She's thinking about the first time that she had to leave home, or not had to, chose to leave home, and yeah, just kind of a compilation of those strong pinnacle, maybe in the moment you didn't think they were pinnacle, but like key memories that she has of her mother.
You remember something strange in that moment as you have your bags packed, the saddlebags ready on your horse, ready to ride off on the long journey to Summer's Rest from Belka. You said your goodbyes to your father. You said farewell to him. You exchanged the pleasantries, the kisses on the forehead, and you can see your dad walk back as your mother walks up You can see she has this big smile on her face. You can see how proud she is of you. But you can also see how nervous she is behind those eyes. As she approaches you, she speaks. But you don't remember this is how the conversation went. It went so much differently than this. As she approaches you, she speaks, and you realize this isn't the memory. This is her. You can see that fear behind the eyes begin to melt away. She smiles. So, at least I get to see you one more time.
Ooh, shit. She's going to just hug her mom.
And she will hug back and squeeze. I want you to know, when you left, I was so scared. I was so afraid that something might happen to you and that I wouldn't be there. I was so afraid I wouldn't ever get a chance to say goodbye. And after Peridot, I was afraid of that same thing. But here you are. I don't have to live with that fear anymore. I love you, BB Lestrange. And I'm so proud of the woman that you've become and the queen that you'll be. Be strong for your dad. You know how much of a hopeless romantic he can be.
I'm sorry, Mom.
No. Don't be sorry. Just be you. And that'll make me the happiest mom that ever walked this plane. Goodbye, Bianca. I'll always be with you.
I love you. Goodbye.
And as you squeeze tighter and tighter and tighter, you can feel the grasp slowly fade. But you can feel it, your grasp on her fades, but her grasp on you doesn't. You can feel it just melt into you. That hug doesn't go away, it stays there. And as the hammers eventually finish ringing out, and the echoes stop reverberating, you can see Dirge looks at you in awe. And as you look down at the anvil, there's nothing there. But as you look down, your armor has changed. Black studded leather fills your frame now. You can see it decorated with a litany of raven feathers. You can see embedded into the leather these arcane runes that just barely fade and glow. You can feel that warmth on you, that protection. As you can now add to your armor on D&D Beyond the Last Stand armor. So while wearing this, you want to add the studded leather variant, but while wearing this armor, you have a +1 bonus to AC, and the armor does shimmer softly. Now, with this armor, if you drop to 0 hit points while wearing the armor, each celestial, fae, and fiend within 30 feet of you must succeed on a DC 15 charisma saving throw or be destroyed. And if they are that's only if they're on their plane of existence. So if you are fighting, say, a devil in the 9 hells and it happens, then they are destroyed. However, if you are fighting a demon, a devil, a fiend, a fae on the material plane, they are instead banished back to their original plane of existence, unable to return to the material plane. So it is a sort of Hail Mary at that point to get whatever is trying to hurt you away from you.
I love that. It's cute.
Okay. And you can see Dirge, he approaches, and he is in awe. And he looks to you and says,
In all my years, I've never seen such a strong connection. I know what this is. A child of true love. It's a strong connection. I'm sorry she's gone. But I'm very happy that you shared the time that you did with her.
Thank you. And she'll like wipe her tears and I mean, she doesn't really have words too much at this moment. You know, kind of just like when you're at a funeral and it's like your grandparent or something, you're just like, everyone's like, I'm so sorry, like, it's okay, but you're like, it's not okay. Like, it's not, I can't say it's not okay. So she's just trying to be like really reverent and say thank you. And she definitely appreciated his words. Yeah.
All right.
But she'll turn around to everybody and just pull everyone in for a hug. You guys are getting a hug.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not. Also, sorry for everyone who joined the stream. I am an emotional baby. It doesn't take much. So
This was pretty emotional.
Phil, what you talking about? You just raked in some viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the tears coming. Learn to do it
Yo,
on
what's
command.
happiness?
Yeah, that was a crazy thing to come back to.
Welcome back.
Hello, Cameron.
sorry, Cam.
No worries,
Cameron.
it's beautiful.
Cameron joins, and your mom speaks to you. What?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the follower, Sane OJ. Hope that's not like the
Sanoid?
Simpson variety. Or that would also make sense. Yeah, welcome. I
Type the phonetics in chat so that we can figure it out.
wait, what did you say?
What did you just say?
The phonetics, you big dummy.
I'm out of here.
No, John, return. Man, I hope
Oh,
you guys
God.
didn't get whiplash in chat. That would have been awful.
See you
Also,
guys later.
oh, he's gone.
Man.
Plus himself
And-
on a cliff.
Also,
Bye.
don't worry, chat, because it only gets more sad from here.
There we go.
Yeah. I also, Bianca, like, has lapped everybody else in the party for amount of aesthetic changes, right? At this point, I
Yeah,
feel like everybody else has
Suni
two
had me
tops.
going, like, Suni and I are tied. So I think.
All right, Ajax is going to dye his fur red.
Yeah.
Like Fire Engine Red? Hell
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's gonna be like Blaziken. Is that the Pokemon that starts
Yeah.
with yellow and goes up to red?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I love a good
Nice.
ombre
That is the
effect.
Pokemon.
Got like
Yeah.
the silhouette of like thigh high boots with
Yeah.
yellow painted fur.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
So
let's get back to the sadness.
the
Yeah.
ceremony completed. And now, all of you have one thing left on your list for your time within the city of Kaladarian. You all prepare yourselves for the ceremony to attempt to bring back your good friend, Keothi Kalukatho. So, is there anything anybody wants to do before this? Because here's the thing. This is your warning message before you enter a new chapter of a game where you can't go back to any of the stuff that you were interacting with before, okay? Because once you go into this, it starts a chain event of actions, okay?
So fun.
Let's go drink some
All
more of that shitty alcohol.
Yeah.
Do all your side quests, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Weren't we supposed to, hold on. We're supposed to tell some soldier up in Jormungandr that Nut is sorry. We should... That's been on my list.
We can do that after.
No,
Holy shit.
It's
I
been
forgot
on my
about
list
that.
for
Wait,
18 months. We need to do it.
Okay, so we
Because I
actually
feel
have
like it's
something.
before my time.
We actually have something we're trying to accomplish with like teleportation, right? But not like dwarf teleportation, right? Weren't we gonna like,
Yeah.
set something up
Yeah,
before we
That's-
head to the Maester?
That's been handled. Or it's being
Oh, it
handled
has.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So,
I don't
yeah,
think there's anything else
Cecily
we need to put
needs
in
to-
motion.
Yeah.
Cecily
Is,
just
this,
needs to
is
get
it
the
finally? Is it finally time? 5 sessions later, we're gonna do this resurrection ritual.
I think so. I will say, Cecily will do Suni and Carasilla the favor of getting her gift ready in front of them, so there's no repeats. You know,
Okay.
you don't want
Oh,
to.
shit.
Yeah, you don't want
That is a pretty basic.
One of us
gift
has to
schedule,
change.
so.
Okay.
Imagine come to the resurrection ritual with the same gift. You're like, oh fuck. Well, mine's not gonna work now.
You're going
Okay.
before me, so it looks like I copied you.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So, all of you prepare your offerings for the ceremony. As I said in character a little bit ago, because Keothi has no physical form to return to since it was disintegrated as part of the power word kill spell that destroyed her, the DC for bringing her back is higher, which means that if all 3 of you fail your rolls, the resurrection attempt will fail. The DC is starting at 20. So if all 3 of your rolls fail, there is no chance at bringing her back, period. Okay? So,
Question, are these gonna be blind
That's a lot of
rolls?
pressure for
That
you
feels
3.
spicy, but I don't know if I hate it or not.
these are going to be blind rolls. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Fucking
Mhm.
hell.
Alrighty.
That's a lot of pressure for the 3.
I will. I'll post a screenshot of the rolls afterwards, but for right now, pressure's on. Okay.
So glad John and I don't gotta worry about that stress.
Hey, we're over here. We wanted to bring back the other one.
Alrighty.
Man, y'all just
Yeah,
fucking
okay,
sword
let's
training,
hold yourself.
getting cool armor and shit.
Okay. So eventually, the sounds of the forge around you fade. The sounds of the dwarven songs fade. And there is this eerie silence that envelops the entirety of the city as all of you wait. And eventually, you see, walking up the stone steps that lead to the Eidolon's crucible, King Borelli Oldblood, the king of the city of Caledarian, of the dwarves of the Mazda Mountains, the individual who is responsible for allowing you the right to attempt to bring back your friend. As you wait, you can hear the songs that the people begin to sing within the city, knowing what is about to be attempted. It is a low, reverential hum that is so much different than what you've heard before. It is not reverential in the work that they're doing. It is reverential in the loss that all of you have had. And it's hopeful as they sing. You see him make his way up the stairs, and you can see Dirge waits with the hammer at his side. And as the king enters, Dirge, the forge master, nods his head, and the king returns it. The king doesn't enter with a retinue of knights. He enters by himself, in workman's clothes, with a hammer at his side as well. He walks up next to Dirge, and the two of them look to each other and look to the forge. They bow their heads, they say a brief prayer, and they look up to you. King Borelli speaks thusly.
It is my honor to bestow upon all of you the rites of resurrection. Know that I do not give this right out, passively, without great thought and consideration. Much weighs on my mind, but out of respect for those that would stand against the Dark One, against the evil that has corrupted the Damaris name, and out of a love for the Goliaths of the Hearthstone, I give this honor to you.
You can see he bows his head, and Dirge raises his.
It is very clear to me that all of you have strong connections to the world of spirits, and strong connections to those that you've encountered in your journeys. It is my great honor to forge this companion soul. Believe you me, everything in my power I will do to return your friend to you. One by one you will step forward and present your gifts and speak to the plane of souls and attempt to urge your friend back to this earthly realm. Bare your soul. Allow her to see the love you have of her and your wish for her to return. You all have seen now twice the forging of souls. When the hammers strike true and in unison, present your gifts.
And you can see he steps forward. The king says a small blessing next to the forge. And with that, one by one, boom, boom. And you can see that he has expertise in this. For him, it doesn't start out as small tings, tings, tings. These are loud, large, bellowing strikes when this hammer hits this anvil. It resonates throughout the entirety of this city. It envelops the entirety of the souls within the Eidolon's crucible. And you can see after 3 strikes, thousands of hammers fall behind his in unison. And with that, I leave it up to the 3 of you that are presenting gifts to present them now and urge Keothi's body and soul back to this plane. Who's going first?
I will go in whatever order everyone else is comfortable with. I can go now, I can go last. So, unless anyone objects, I'll just go ahead and start.
Okay. Cecily, I think you're going first.
All right. So yeah, she'll bring forward the stone she gathered. And she's going to actually get close to, I suppose you could call it the altar in the middle. Well, actually, though, once she's close, she's going to sit with the stone in her lap and just kind of place palm down, hand at each side. I'm not very good at words when it comes to this kind of thing, but wherever you are, I hope you feel this. And she'll do what she practiced just hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time she ever speaks the language of Primordial, she wants to do it to to the best of her ability, recreate what the wind and the breeze and the storm felt like in every place that Cecily and Keothi have been together. And she's going to use, like I said, she'll use the gust cantrip and some of her innate magic to try to bring all of that energy down into the stone itself. So it's almost as if, in the language of Illica itself, the places she has been have been, the story is being told in that stone.
Yeah.
And I imagine that'll take a while, and throughout it, Cecily will be breathing very slowly and deeply. Tears will be falling as it's happening, and she refuses to close herself off as that's happening, knowing how important it is that she not let her pride and her fear get in the way of making this work. And she will set the stone on the altar when she's done, and she will switch back to common just for one final sentence. I don't know about you, but I think that's only half done. And that's it.
Okay.
That's all she's gonna say.
Cecily, what I'd like you to do is, for one, on Foundry, make sure you have selected where it says public roll down at the bottom. Make sure you hit blind GM roll first.
Gotcha. Yep.
And then on your character sheet on D&D Beyond, I'd like you to make a performance check. As telling this story, to tell it entirely factual would be false. When turning the sounds of nature into a story, there's a performative aspect to it. One that luckily you've tempered and sharpened with Carasilla, but now you attempt to implore your friend Keothi back. So, go ahead and roll.
Alright. Blind GM rolls clicked on. Okay. Did you receive it, or do I still need to type it in?
I did not receive it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, you can just type it in at that point just to make sure that it happens.
I will DM you so that it's blind as possible.
Okay. Okay. All right, sounds good.
God of War.
So, Cecily, as you place the stone down on the anvil, you can see it begins to change and shift. The stone begins to flatten. The wind whispers that you put into the stone, they begin to remove themselves. All of the winds that you put into the stone, they begin to move. They begin to breeze. They begin to flow. That cool breeze on a summer day from when you first met her. The icy chill of wind from your memories down deep within the ruins of the Kalukatho people. The absence of breath in the time that she was gone. And the hopeful anticipation of a breath of air, as if being submerged underwater, awaits at the very end for her return. You can see those wisps of wind take life, as you can see them form these areas like tattoos that just float there in the ether. Part of a material form returns. As you can see, you think your plea was successful. Keothi, as you step back, Cecily, Carasilla, Suni. Who's next?
Carasilla can go next.
Okay.
I think it's suitable for Suni to be the last for this. So yeah, Cressel will step up, I suppose. First 2 times we've really met, both of them were on unfavorable circumstances, to say the least. So I ask that we can have one more that's happier than those occasions. Quieter, perhaps. I've seen the wisdom, the light, all of it that comes from you, Keothi. All of it that I and many others have been able to share in. I hope that can return. So you taught me a song once. You talked of its importance to you, and I only hope that it can reach you and guide you back now. And that all of us will be able to share in your wisdom once more. And I imagine like the soul patch that she sewed in the other day, she sewed it pretty close to where her chest would have, where she could like have it over her chest. And so she'll just kind of hold the patch and kind of hold it to where her heart would be. And knowing what it does, I suppose, she'll keep her eyes closed for the good first part of it, just not wanting to see the true answer of it. I'm the last of the giants. My people have gone from the earth. The last of the great mountain giants who ruled the world at my birth. The small folk have stolen my forests. They've stolen my rivers and hills. They've built a great wall through my valleys and fished for the fish from my rills. In stone halls they burn their great fires. In stone halls they forge their sharp spears. Whilst I walk alone in the mountains, with no true companion but tears. Oh, I'm the last of the giants, so learn well the words of my song. For when I am gone, the singing will fade, and the silence shall last long and long. And she'll just stay there for a moment. She'll cry, sorry. And eventually she'll look up, just to try and glean anything.
Mm-hmm. I would like you to make a performance check, Carasilla. And you should be able to just double click on your token right there. And that way the blind roll definitely works. I imported it, so it's still a +12.
Okay. Do I still get this with advantage? Because I get advantage with the cloak?
I'll say yeah.
Wait, so just do it through my character sheet?
Yeah, just do it through the character sheet on VTT. Like double click on your token right there.
Okay. Cool, I can do advantage, cool.
Okay.
Does that go through?
Yep, I got it. Okay. Carasilla, towards the end of the song, you can see the notes of music physically begin to form from your mouth. You can see the notes move around the wisps of wind forming her tattoos. You can see the wisps of wind begin to color deep green, the essence of nature and of earth. You can see the notes of music mix with the wind. You can see them turn to rock and stone, shades of gray and brown. You can see the armor, that protective plate of Elowen there on her. You can see a physical body begin to manifest, And for the first time in what feels like ages, all of you begin to see this physical apparition. You can see through it. It is not tangible. It is this echo of Keothi. It's a memory, but it's something. You can see her face, the long braids of green with twinges of brown. You feel hope for the next moment as Suni, Kalukatho, you step forward.
Okay, I'd like to first say that, just a heads up, I'm not on my computer, I'm on my phone, so somebody might have to help me out with the roll.
That's fine.
Just getting that out of the way.
I've got your character sheet right here. I can roll
Okay,
it for
sweet.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just don't blame me, all right?
I won't.
Okay.
So Suni will step up and very heavily walking up to, and then he kneels down, and he'll say out loud, Keothi, you are one of the bravest, smartest, greatest warrior, best singer, best friend that anyone could have ever wished for. I have always felt, since we met, a great connection with you. One so strong that it's palpable and tangible to me. When I didn't have even a name for myself, or any belongings or anything really, you gave me yours. Even beyond Elwyn, beyond the weave, you chose me and you made me your brother. So it's the least that I can do is I'm going to return the favor. And he's going to unbuckle the arm guard that Bianca and Carasilla got for him. And he's going to take it off. And he's going to go to the edge of where his scales are. And he's going to pull 3 of them off. And he's going to set them down one by one. We've always shared the Mother of Mountains, but now we share with the Platinum Dragon too.
Fuck, dude. Okay.
And I know I'm going to see you soon, my sister.
All right. Okay. So, Suni, as you finish, I'm going to have you roll a persuasion check. And I guess I'll go ahead and roll that here.
Thank
All
you.
right. Persuasion +8. Normal. Okay. You set down the 3 scales. You make this impassioned plea to her. To Elwyn, to the Platinum Dragon. You set down the 3 scales, and you can see them slowly lift and begin to swirl with the wind and with music. You, Suni, being the last of the Kalukathos, the last of her blood, in a way. You see the scales slowly begin to dissipate into the air. This texture of dirt and earth, but something stronger. These brief streaks of mithril, almost. This platinum essence begin to mix in with the dirt and stone and iron as it begins to coalesces in one physical form. You can see the shadowy apparition of Keothi finally begin to become whole. There's no more transparency. It is no longer an apparition. It is a physical form. You can see the tattoos along her Goliath body begin to glow with a bright green energy, and it comes down to one final roll. So, as the tattoos slowly begin to fade, you can hear the hammers finish ringing as Dirge steps back. You can see she lies there, motionless. No glow, no life. But in the same moment you think you failed, all of you see a resounding and you see Keothi, eyes shot wide open. She looks to all of you as tears begin to roll down her face, as she immediately stands and begins to lumber towards all of you, lurching over and squeezing all of you so tight. And she says, I was so scared. It was so dark. It was so cold. I felt him. I felt him. But you saved me. Thank you. As she just squeezes and doesn't let go. So incredibly tight for so long. Till eventually you can tell that she's weak in this moment. As she eventually lets go, sort of falls to the ground. And as she slowly falls to the ground, you can see Suni, she is grabbing on to your hand. And you can see her look up to you and smile. And to you specifically, Suni, she says, you gave me hope. You saw me. If not for that,
could do.
I don't know where I'd be. Thank you, brother.
He'll just wrap his arms around her much bigger self. As you said she's kneeling down, right? Or laying down or something. I don't know. But he'll reach around and grab and just hug very, very tightly.
Yeah. You hug tightly. All of you do. Squeeze and hold her close. Because your friend, your companion, has returned to you. Keothi Kalukatho. Oh, no, that doesn't work. John, you lied! So, with that, as all of you... Oh, there you go. That worked. Okay, cool. That's fine. So, as all of you hold on...
I'll fix it after.
Okay, as all of you hold on to Keothi tight. Oh, sorry, that's because I did it wrong. I forgot you had to select. Boom, there we go.
I was right. Sorry.
You hold on to Keothi tightly. And you smile. You hold her close. And you swear to never let go. And on that note, we are going to take just a very brief couple of minute break just so I can collect myself, so all of us can get some tissues.
No, that's good.
I don't need that shit.
Oh man, I got this shit with Vicks Vapor Rub in it. That shit's gonna hit right now. We're gonna fucking cleanse my sinuses,
Yeah.
bro. Oh my god.
That was wonderful.
Who the fuck invented feelings? What
I
what
know.
were they
Oh my
thinking?
God.
Jesus.
Yeah, please, please, please hang around. Like I said, only a couple minutes. I'm gonna get some water because it doesn't end there. Believe me. There's, like I said, this starts the chain events. So in the next hour, some shit is gonna happen, and I'm very excited for it. So hang in there, and we will be right back after this very, very, very short break. Thanks for watching so far, and we'll be right back.
We love it.
All right. Hello there, everybody. We are back, ready to go. I got water. Everybody had a good cry. They gave some screams. We're good to go.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and dive in. Picking up where we left off, our group of adventurers had gone through two emotional moments today. For one, Bianca went through the process of saying goodbye to her mother, a process in which she forged the soul of her mother into armor to keep her safe. She got one last opportunity to say goodbye before the end of that relationship. Her mother imparted words of wisdom and letting Bianca know that she's incredibly proud of who she is and who she will be in the days, months, and years to come. The second emotional endeavor that the party had to grapple with was the resurrection ritual to bring back their companion, their friend, Keothi Kalukatho. Spiritual and now blood brother to that of Suni, and close companion to the rest of the party. Luckily, due to their impassioned pleas and strong connections to her, they were able to bring her soul back to her body and able to reform a physical body for her. As she awoke with a gasp, she gripped on to her friends, to her family, and she told them of how cold it felt, of how alone she felt, and how she could feel the Dark One reaching for her in an attempt to consume her soul so they may never have it. Luckily for you all, you came just in time. Suni, your impassioned cry and plea has returned her to you. And Suni, due to your ritual beforehand, you apparently gave her that last little bit of hope she needed to make it until she could be resurrected by all of you. Eventually, after a few moments of tight hugs and reverential celebration, she eventually stands of her own will, of her own volition. Her strength is returned to her partially. She will need weapons and armor provided to her by the dwarves, but King Borelli insists that's something he has no problem doing. You can see Keothi smiles, and she's very happy to be back. However, as all of you are standing there with the king and with Dirge, you can see Vondor is making his way up the steps. And you can see that he has this look of business as usual on his face, with a slight twinge of concern for those of you that have a higher passive insight than, we'll say, 16. As he makes his way up the steps, you can hear him speak to Dirge and to King Borelli and say, "I hope you pardon the intrusion. My King Balder wishes to speak with you. He says the matter is rather urgent and he would like his traveling companions to be there with him." You can see King Borelli sort of look to all of you if you have any inkling as to what this is about.
He had mentioned to me that he plans on talking with the king of renewing relations between Aesir and your people, but if it's urgent, I worry it's something more than that.
Well, provided he wishes to speak, we will speak. He did say he wished to have this conversation with me. I had not expected it so soon. But I suppose now that your friend is returned to you, you will be on your way soon. I have the necessary runes and magics ready for a teleportation circle between here and Mesta. I will have Vandor take you through the underways to get you there at quicker than normal. But in the meantime, it is important that we not keep Balder waiting. I think it would be best to make sure, if he wishes relations to be better, to act quickly, regardless of how slowly my old bones wish to move. Well, let's go then, I suppose.
And he begins to move.
Cecily, I mean, as they're kind of starting to walk, she doesn't want to keep them from walking, but she will pretty quickly approach Keothi as they're moving, assuming she's still kind of, you know, after just coming alive, mentally present enough to hold a conversation, because she knows she wasn't. So,
and she seems like she can handle that right now.
Okay. Yeah, probably the lack of concussion probably helps, but she'll approach Keothi as they're walking and say, "Okay, Keo, I'm sure you've noticed there's a lot to catch you up on, but Balder, who I'm sure you know, says he's here to try to bring some sort of peace between us and Odin. And I haven't known how to feel about it the whole time. None of us have, really, but I'm the least accepting. Big surprise. I don't know what he's gonna be talking about. Do you have anything?
You can see she thinks for a long moment as you're walking down the stairs.
Well, if I'm being entirely honest, that is surprising, all things considered. When all of you had left for those mines and I was to return to the Hearthstone, I had conversations with Odin, with Thor, with Heimdall, and with Balder. The person I never spoke with that much, aside from a few brief interactions, was Loki. I saw the way that Balder was treated by Odin and the way that he acted in return. It would be very strange to me if he did come seeking a peaceful accord. You see, to those of Jormungandr, specifically the Fractured Peninsula, and as far as most people understand, Balder is an entity of peace. He wishes to have peaceful resolutions, joy and happiness. The golden child, so to speak. But upon interacting with him, that is not what I felt at all. I saw him as more of a hound that Odin uses. Someone with purpose. Not someone who has a great deal of care in him. Perhaps, though, after seeing what happened to Magni and Modi, he understands that you all are not to be trifled with as before. So maybe he is seeking peace, but it is strange to me, to say the least.
Are they really all like this? Are they always hiding something?
Yes. I suppose the real question then is why? Why hide it? I'm assuming you all didn't just get to the city. You must have been here for some time, correct?
A few days.
Very strange.
Sure is. And I am very glad to have someone back who sees it that way.
I'm very glad to be back too. And very much interested in getting to the bottom of whatever this is.
And she'll stop for a brief moment before the conversation wraps up. As the group is moving, she'll take Keothi's hand in both of hers and hold it and just... I felt him too. But we're both here. He doesn't have shit on us. Okay?
You're right.
And she'll just nod and keep walking. Ever prepared for the worst.
Okay. Alrighty. You continue walking down the steps through the thoroughfares of the city, and unless there is anything else any of the rest of you wish to talk about, you will arrive in the keep and into King Borelli's throne room. Anything else on the way there?
I think Ajax will make the smallest comment to Bianca. I mean, he'll just say,
Always prepared.
And she'll just kind of nod, and knowing that Ajax has that sense of like maybe something's wrong, she'll definitely just be way more alert, not so in her head.
that's it.
Alrighty. So, all of you make your way into the keep and into the throne room, passing the hundreds of statues of the dwarves, of the Mazdram Mountains, of the city of Kaladarian. Eventually you enter the throne room. King Borelli in front of you, Vondor beside him, and all of the rest of you following suit. And you can see, standing in the throne room is a man that you recognize to be Balder. Different, though. This man is not wearing armor, as that's not something that that's something he wore when he was around you all that time. He's bare-chested, bare-armed. He has a pair of woolen pants trimmed with fur, a belt at his side. No weapons, though. No rings, just covered in tattoos. You can see a sharp-trimmed beard and longer hair shaved at the side and braided in a long braid to about the small of his back. Long black hair. Tattoos all along the side of his scalp. You can see him stand there, and with this look on his eyes, he stares at all of you as you walk in. Definitely not a look of familiarity. Not a look of friendship. King Borelli moves towards him and nods. And he sits at the stone slab. And you can see Balder does not let his eyes off of all of you. As King Borelli speaks.
Balder Odin's son, I understand you come here because you have a proposal you wish to strike up with me. Please, speak your mind. You have shown us nothing but kindness since your arrival.
And you hear a voice emanate from this body. Not a voice like you've heard before. It is rattier, more angry, not nearly as calm and peaceful as the other voice that you had heard, as he looks towards all of you. I think you know exactly what I want. Brave King. My brother encountered these individuals. He saw the device that was used to transport them in to the mountains. Upon bringing this information back to me, I realize the underways, not used in a very long time. But you know, King Borelli, my father has his ways. And so here we are. I would like you to know that the individuals you harbor in your home, commonplace murderers, kinslayers also, Odin's grandsons, my nephews, killed by them in cold blood. I come to reclaim them for my father, to take them back to Fjordaleth, so they may find justice. One of these individuals is not party to that, but they did attempt, and I say attempt, to take my brother's life, and I believe that is in itself enough of a crime. So regardless of what pleasantries they may give to you now, understand that they are commonplace liars and thieves, murderers, half-breeds. Looking to you, Cecily. And you can see King Borelli sort of raises his hand and speaks loudly and kingly for the first time you've heard him speak since you've arrived.
I will not have such slander thrown in my throne. You make these bold, baseless claims in my throne room, and you give my guests no room to respond. I hear your claims, Balder Odinson, but I will hear their rebuttal, if that is just. This is my home still, not Fjordaleth. You have no power here. It is my decision, and I will listen to all the facts. Balder Odinson states that you killed his nephews, cold blood, thieves, murderers. Is that true?
He looks to all of you.
Wouldn't be right for us to deny that it was by our hands that both Magni and Modi are dead. However, it does miss a very crucial part. That both of them had been corrupted, had their minds warped into attacking by the Dark One. I promise, and she'll say this directly looking at Boulder, it's never our intention, never our ambition, never our want to not be able to leave those minds without them. However, there are times where violence becomes necessary, no matter how much we may hate it, no matter how much we may wish that it did not have to be. But that is the truth of the matter.
And I want to echo and emphasize it was in defense, and Cecily had died by their hand. It wasn't cold blood, it was defense. How else are you supposed to fight the Dark One? With ration?
Fight the Dark One. It's a shame
that you would even try and pretend anymore. The All-Father did some investigating as to their initial adventures, their journeys. And King Borelli, I know you to be a staunch enemy of the Dark One and his wishes and desires. I'd like you to know several of these individuals, in the very early days of their companionship, shared a prison cell with a well-known cultist of the Dark One, and on top of that, delved into ancient ruins, destroyed by the Dark One. King Borelli, you know how dangerous the ways the realm between is to travel. The underways is dangerous enough, but to travel the realm between, irresponsible, considering the corruption that lies there, don't you think?
So, did your dad ever figure out the part where we went into those ruins to kill the cultist we shared the cell with? Or did he just stop looking there? Because that'd be fucking convenient, wouldn't it?
I don't speak with all the knowledge the All-Father has. I am here with a simple purpose: to bring those who would harm his family, his home, who would harm all of the Salamander Coast, and I wish to bring them to justice. And if you will not leave with me peacefully...
And you can see him sort of crack his neck.
then I will escort you out with violence. How's that sound?
Just real quick. This may be a Hail Mary, I don't know. Obviously, this is not the boulder that we've been with. And
yeah,
so I ask,
definitely a stark change.
So I ask, if I was to cast Sending to the quote-unquote boulder we were with, would I be able to do that since we don't really know who said boulder, quote-unquote, was? Can I just focus on them as a person or something? Obviously, we've been around them. Would that work?
It is dicey because you'd be attempting to send a message to Baldur Odinson, which is who you thought you were talking to. But I think with understanding consciously that Baldur Odinson is in front of you, the sending would just go to him. Because you don't know who the other person is, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Because me as Gemma, I feel like I know. But me as Karasilla, I don't think I can justify it.
Okay.
So shit, okay.
Cecily will, I agree, Gemma. Cecily will turn to King Borelli. She kind of sees that the conversation with Baldur is not going to go well, and she's not in the mood to be risky right now, since Kyo just came back. But she'll turn to King Borelli and just... You told me you've met Tyr, isn't that enough? Seen what's happened to him. We do have a common enemy. This whole family's just too wrapped up in their own shit to help.
See him nod. Thinking.
Baldur Odinson, while I understand your desire to seek honor in the name and memory of your fallen nephews, my throne room and my city is not the place to do it. And as far as my eyes can tell, these individuals are innocent. So if this is what you wished for, know that I will not give it to you here. And if you continue this incessant behavior, I will have you removed from the city. Should you not stop?
Yeah, Ajax.
I just want to say, Ajax, he's just staying quiet this whole time. He is watching for Balder to make any moves at all. Like, he is dead set on any sudden movements at all to react to it. I just want to point that out.
Okay. Make a perception check real quick. And we'll say this is persistent throughout the time there.
Like a dice roll sound.
Yeah, it was good Foley.
Yeah.
It's a nice throw right there. Okay, so plus 6, 13 plus 6 is what? 19?
19.
19. 19 total.
Okay. Alrighty. So 19 total. Got it. So as you watch, you see him continue speaking. As he goes on, Balder, he responds to King Borelli.
Well, I just don't think that's fair, King. But of course, I respect your wishes. I will leave your city. But blood taken requires a payment of blood. So, my king, I will be extracting that before I leave.
And you see him begin to move. And Ajax, you catch it. Watching him, and I'll let you have the first reaction to this. He is incredibly fast. And you can see as soon as
How far away is he?
At this point, he's maybe 15 feet away from you, but in a moment, you see him step forward, and in this mist of ice that he leaves behind him, he shifts towards you, towards the group, and he's easily within 5 feet of you.
Okay. Ajax has been looking for this, and as this happens, almost slow motion, he releases the Great Spear, and he's going to shield bash Boulder.
Okay.
And try to knock him down to the ground.
Okay. All right. So you attempt to knock him down to the ground. I'll say go ahead and make a strength check with advantage because he was not anticipating you catching on.
Dirty 20.
Okay, dirty 20. So as you knock into him, you can see he is immediately stopped. That icy apparition of mist is halted. You can see he is thrown back 5 feet. And you can see that out of anybody else that would take the wind out of them, that would hurt them in some way. You can see he just sort of slides back. And he stands up.
Can I use one of the shields from the Aegis of Leos to knock him prone? Or
Yeah.
one of the charges?
Yeah,
Push
sure.
him back 10 feet
So-
and knock him prone?
Push him back 10 feet, knock him prone.
Okay. Do I get to do something else or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah, no, you definitely do. So you knock him prone, you shield bashed him. What are you doing next? He's 10 feet away from you.
Yeah. I hope you guys don't hate me. Ajax is gonna jump on him and stab right into the top of his shoulder, like trying to pin him into the ground with the great spear.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Kidding, I love you.
Go ahead and roll for an attack with advantage.
I am. Is this like a action economy, like bonus action rage? Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. All right. All right. Also, I'm using my tablet, so it's a lot slower for me to do everything. So that is 24 to hit.
Okay, that hits.
Okay. I'm just gonna pull up my actual sheet. That's easier. It's 24. It's just easier. So I will go ahead and roll first the piercing damage. Ooh, okay, that was absolute garbage. So 18 total damage, 9 piercing, 9 of it is radiant.
Oh, okay, the first one was 23 points of damage.
Oh, I clicked it. I'm sorry, I clicked it twice. Okay.
That's fine. We'll just take the first one. So yeah, you jam down. You deal 23 points of damage.
And I wanted to like pin him to the ground if possible.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You pierce through the stone underneath him, and you can see he's kind of pinned with the one shoulder down on the ground there.
Second attack. Just because he's prone, is that advantage? Because it's a melee attack? That is a 22 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. That is going to be another Heaven's Breath spear attack.
Okay, 22 points of damage. Got it.
Oh, it rolled, but so yeah, 22 points of damage. And I'm also going to use a it's a bonus action. I'm sorry, this is taking so long.
No, you're good.
Fuck them up, man. Get them numbers.
Oh god, I'm totally forgetting about my zealot feature, which also makes me roll more damage.
Yep, once per round, or once per turn.
Yeah, so 1d6 plus 3. So 1d6 plus 3. So it's an extra 8 points of radiant damage.
Okay, 8 points of radiant damage. Got it.
I'm not going to use a superiority dice. He's on the ground already. Okay, yeah. So shield bash, knock him down prone, jump, stab into his shoulder, pull up again, stab into his chest. And just loom over him, like stand on top of him.
Yeah.
And get ready to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Again!
No wince of pain, no reaction at all. You see him just look towards the spear in his shoulder and the wound in his chest, and you can just see them slowly begin to close as he slowly begins to sort of push himself up, just pushing himself up the spear that you've currently pierced him with, as he eventually stands, not all the way upright. You see him look at you, Ajax, and say, "I thought that maybe all of you killed my nephews, escaped from Odin's grasp, fought so valiantly, could make me feel something. But I suppose not. No one can break me of that curse." And you can see he disappears again into an icy apparition of mist. And in a moment, Ajax, there's a flash as you can see the mist move up above you and then come crashing down as one solid fist of ice into your chin. That is a 27 to hit.
That hits.
And that will be...
Just barely.
27 points of cold damage.
God damn it.
As you can see,
It's
it
not
is just
physical.
all ice that his fist comes crashing down into your face with. You can see that impact happen. Ajax, I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Advantage because I'm raging.
I'm raising the roof.
I'm raising. The roof is
You also
on
get
fire.
a bonus from my Oath of the whatever thing.
Yep.
Strength saving throw, you said?
Yep.
The fuck is it on here? Here it is. My save is a +9. 13 plus 9 is what? 23?
Plus 4.
22 and then 26.
Okay, that saves. So as he punches into you, you can see that you are almost knocked prone as the weight of that ice is like propelling you down, but luckily you manage to steel yourself. You stand back up and you can see that he could easily make another flurry of punches, but he stops. And you can see, Ajax, the wounds that you have caused now all gone, vanished, no trace of damaging him at all. What about the rest of you? Would you like to try? However, I think you know how it would go if you tried. Invulnerable to all threats, physical and magical. Isn't that right, Mimir? Isn't that right? And you can see Mimir on your waist. Bianca, he sort of stutters and stammers, and most of the time he is very ready to speak and say words. And he just sort of stutters and stammers. That's right. Invulnerable to all threats, physical and magical.
I don't like that he's picking on Mimir. Can I do something?
Yeah, what do you want to do, Bianca?
Okay, I had two things that I actually was thinking about doing, kind of, because Ajax told her to be ready. So I would like to try to, and amplify it, do the Blood Curse of Bindings, so he doesn't zip around all of us anymore, as my bonus action first. So it's just a strength saving throw. It's not a high DC, it's 16, but I'm hoping.
Okay. I said strength saving throw?
He's not Thor. He's not as. I feel
Yeah,
like he's
I don't know.
Dex
He's
That's a natural one.
fast.
Oh, nice.
That is
Okay.
a failure. You can see he is frozen in place as you Blood Curse of Binding him. Frozen, immediately not moving at all, can't do anything. What do you want to do, Bianca?
Okay, and she did amplify it, so I'll go ahead and do the D6. I imagine she like just had the sword out ready and like now blood is dripping down her hand. Oh, nice! It's never that low against myself.
Hey!
All right, and then she's actually not going to do any damage. She's going to cast darkness surrounding him. So it's just darkness all around him, and she'll say, look, fighting brought us nowhere in the first place. It got us in this situation. There's a lot of hard feelings right now on both ends. We need to talk about this. As much as you want to kill us, we're not going to do that. Not that we could, but the playing field isn't fair. We need to be heard out, and
Oh no, Felicity, no!
Felicity's frozen.
She's frozen.
It was
Blood
Whoa,
Curse
try
binded
this.
him.
We have the same enemy. As leave it because you're hurting. Huh?
Oh, well, okay, we got it. It was
We
funny.
got
You
it.
froze, and then it said everything all at once.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, God.
We got
I
the
was like,
first, like,
what?
3/4 of it.
Okay, what did I say?
Oh no.
This all started with fighting.
Okay. Is that all you got, basically? Was the whole...
It was a little bit more than that, but that was the last thing I remember.
Okay. It all started with fighting. We need to talk about this. Both sides are hurting. Both sides are not willing to listen. Odin is a smart man. And he's a diplomat. And we are now too. So if we would like to focus on the true enemy, the Dark One, rather than go at each other's throats and let this world slip away, we need to put this aside. I understand hurting. We do. We really do. But if you kill us, you lose an ally, unfortunately. And that sucks. Too bad persuasion's not my best, anything.
Deception.
That's not it either.
Oh.
Can I history him?
I would like you to
Spoon
make.
him.
I would like you to make. Let's see. I'd like you to make a straight intelligence check, because you're trying to rationally reason with him.
Okay.
With facts and logic.
Oh,
Logos. No pathos. All logos.
Sometimes Logos
Oh.
isn't good enough. So
Logos.
you speak this out
No.
into the darkness. You believe he hears the plea, the rational thought being peddled his way, but you are unsure if he hears any of it. He says nothing in response. The blood curse of binding doesn't prevent him from talking. He says nothing in response, but he's still bound. Cecily, Carasilla, Suni, are the three of you doing anything in this moment?
All Cecily's doing is turning to Keothi, and because she's the one person here besides maybe King Borelli that would know, and she's just gonna mumble to her, "Is there any way to get around it, or do we need to go?"
As far as I know, the only person that knows, the person who put the curse on him in the first place, was his mother. It was Freya. It's said, rumored, that Freya shared this with one person, but I don't know who.
Carasilla, are you doing anything? Or are you just kind of holding Cecily?
Yeah, primarily she's holding Cecily to try and like preemptively stop her from doing anything. Obviously, you know, knowing whatever Cecily would likely do would be very emotive based rather than, okay, let's not die here.
Yeah,
and
you know,
can't
fair.
blame her.
Fair.
And I guess just harkening back to Boulder's earlier point, if you were just here now for blood before you can leave, well, you've drawn it, you've had your little spar. We understand you as an enemy. We see that there's little we can do to stop you from doing anything here. We can finish off what happened in Fjarlaleth. We can talk, go to Odin himself. But now's not the time to do that. And I'm sure you're not the one to dish out any consequence if it's he that we've wronged. So please, you've had your fun. You may take your leave now. Especially knowing you are not welcome in the city.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Is that neutral out because I get advantage just from everything? Because I think it's just as long as it's a humanoid, you know?
Balder, the Odinsons, they're considered celestials to a degree.
Well, hold on, let me check before I roll this, because I can't remember if this is one that I can't roll less than a 10 for.
I think
What'd you
so.
say? This is persuasion, yeah.
Persuasion, yeah.
Okay. That makes me less scared. And I got a plus 12. We could do this. Okay. That is a 22 then.
22? Okay.
I rolled a 9. That was sad.
Okay. Alrighty. You make this impassioned plea. Once again, Balder, no response. Suni, in this moment, the last person to act, is there anything you wish to do, or are you just waiting to see how this plays out?
Suni, I don't think there's anything that he actually can do, but he would position himself between. I think that there's like a clump of Carasilla and Cecily and Keothi. Since of that, he would position himself between, with his moonblades ready to go, the darkness and them, trying to be a wall between that small group at the very least.
Okay, sounds good. So you stand there, Ajax, near Bianca, and all of you hear, as your impassioned pleas end, what sounds like the soft fall of rain and a boom of thunder. As you hear this deep, bellowing voice echo throughout the room.
Balder, you insolent child. You never know when to stop, do you? You're a disgrace to me and to the Odinson name.
And Bianca, as the darkness drops, you can see in this flash of blue lightning, there stands Odin. Taller than Balder by several feet. You can see Balder just barely breaking out of the spell, the Blood Curse of Binding having succeeded on his saving throw. You can see Balder look up at his father, confused. And he shakes his head and he says, "You sent me here to deal with them. I gave you the information I had, that Thor gave me. And now you say this? I'm doing this for you. I've only ever done any of this for you."
And still, only ever acting for me. You are the greatest disappointment in this world. Just like a lame horse that must be put out of his misery.
And you can see Odin pull out this massive spear, twisting green vines like a spear of glass. And you can see Balder look down at it, confused, as Odin stabs the spear into Balder's chest. And where wounds had initially closed from your impacts, you can see blood begins to pour. Balder begins to take these sharp gasps of air that eventually end with one long strained as you can see his body fall limp and tumble to the ground. You can see the spear begin to dissolve and dissipate as Odin throws it to the ground. And you see Odin's form begin to shrink. You see instead the form of a man of average height and average build, wearing sleek leathers of green and brown, long black hair. As he turns around, you all recognize this man. One of his many forms you've seen him in. Loki Odinson. He smiles at Balder's dead corpse and looks to all of you. I greatly appreciate your services. You see, before it was hard to get Balder alone. Odin never let him out of his sight if he knew I was going to be there. Just so happenstance, all of you stumbled your way into Thor. And I knew that this was going to be the opportunity I was looking for. So, thank you so much. Feels good, doesn't it? A little bit of chaos. The one pillar of structure and sanctity that was left in the Odinson name, gone. Oh. One of the prophecies Odin found long ago said that the death of Balder would lead to Fimbulwinter and then to Ragnarok. Chaos incarnate. I suppose we'll see, won't we? Oh. Thank you all so very much. And I hope our paths cross again. And you can see he takes a small bow, and then in this twist of light, and almost as if he's folding in on himself, there's a pop. He disappears. And all of you look down at the body of Balder, blood spilling out into the throne room. You can see King Borelli looks down in disbelief and looks up to all of you. And he says,
Very well, then. So it is done. In the wars and fighting to come, know that I do not hold this against you. There are forces that pull against us in the threads of fate. I do not blame you for this, and you will have our support in the fighting to come. However, I do think it best if you leave shortly.
Hold on. Just Boulder's dead, right? Like,
Oh,
completely
yeah.
gone at this point?
yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool.
No, dead.
Okay. Continue. Sorry.
I'm sure in time Odin will discover the death of his son. It may lead him here. But no, we will form strong wards to prevent him from entering our city. He may be powerful. He may wish to know all the magics of all the creatures of all the realms. But there are some few secrets we kept from him long ago. You all may stay for a short while longer, but I believe Maester is where you plan to head next. You may want to head sooner rather than later.
Morelli, if he's coming here next, is Tyr really safer with you or with me?
You can see him think for a moment.
If my guessing is correct, the wanderer we sent to Loshar should be there within a few hours. The teleportation circle will be set up by then. Maybe within a few more hours. Hopefully before Odin even knows of Baldur's death. As soon as we have it, I will make sure that it lands in Faye's hands safely, so it can be returned to Tyr's body. If all of you leave, the wards that keep you safe, he may be able to find you sooner, should he know the truth. Be mindful. If he discovers your hand in this, I'm sure he will come to find you. I will have Vondor create wards to keep you partially safe, but should they fade, and they will in time, he will be able to find you. But Tyr's soul will be safe with us for now, and we will make sure it returns to Tyr's body.
I'm putting a lot of trust in you. Please, get it to him.
You have my promise. Even if it means, till my dying breath, I will try. Everything in my power.
And she'll just take one last look at Baldur's body and just kind of sigh. There's no whatever satisfaction there would have been is gone. Just and she'll just pretty quickly walk out of the room, expecting everybody else to follow behind shortly. She just doesn't want to be in that space for a second longer after how everything went.
Okay. Alrighty. So with that, you can see Vondor comes over to all of you. He sort of rallies all of you up, and as he leads you to your room, you can see him mixing together small ingredients into a mortar and pestle, grinding away, sprinkling in a few bits of magical essence, arcane magic, creating a very thin liquid in it. And as all of you gather your things one by one, he goes either on your arm, your neck, your forehead, whatever is most easily accessible for him. He will make a small mark, some type of dwarvish rune, of warding magic. And Vondor says,
This should be enough to keep all of you safe. In time, it should wear off in about a week. And sadly, once used once, it prevents it from being used again for quite some time. You have a week. Use it wisely. I will take you to our entry point for the ways, and provided we run into no more thunderstorms, it should only be several hours of running to get you to Maester. I'm sorry if there was anything else you wished to do within our city, but I can guarantee you this is not the last time you'll be here. And the people of Maester need you, I'm sure.
No, you're right. We do need to get going. Thank you for everything. You all have been more than gracious with your gifts and time. I will say, probably before they left Baldur's body, Bianca, just because of her oath, she would do a Raven Queen thing. I don't know, with the lamp. It's a soul. He died, so like gotta do the thing. So
yeah, you move over to the body and you do the rites that you do, and it is very odd, because as soon as you attempt to give the rites to the soul, as you've done so many times for other fallen soldiers or fallen warriors, something strange about this. It seems as though Baldur was robbed of his soul long ago, and he's just been a vessel for pain and suffering.
Could she ask the king his opinion on how that could be?
Yeah. You see him think for a moment, and he says,
The magics of the Vanir work in strange ways. Baldur's mother is the one who cursed him. When her and Odin were still married is when the prophecy was foretold. That Ragnarok and the destruction of all the realms and the fate and the weave could only take place if Baldur were to die. While Odin searched for a way to stop Ragnarok, Freya looked to protect her only son. She looked to protect Baldur by any means necessary. Vanir magic works in strange ways, as I say. Every binding curse has a sacrifice that needs to be made. And perhaps she thought a forsaken soul was not nearly as bad as him losing his life.
Yeah, she'll just kind of take that in and feel a lot of pity. And her heart hurts for that. And again, she'll probably, like, for the 50th time, thank King Borelli and be like, we have a working relationship. Whatever you need, let us know. Let's hang out, you know, things like that.
Coffee ladle.
Yeah, TTYL, you know. Appreciation.
Okay. Alrighty. So you do just that. You share that with him. You get reconvened with Bondor. You get the mark. As a last minute thing, is there anything else anybody wants to do within the city of Kaladarian as you're exiting? We got two things.
I need to grab whatever I need to make the teleportation circle in Maester, but that's not...
Oh yeah, Vondor would have those resources for you. He would give those to you.
Okay. Cool. Just wanted to make sure it happened. Most importantly, what is it? Is it chalk? Is it what?
So, specifically, they are these flat stone discs with these intricately carved runes on them. You're given 6 of them. You're told to place those on a flat, clean stone surface, and then you are given several vials of this arcane essence of varying colors of blue, green, and purple. And you're given a few sheets of parchment with a few sigils and instructions that you're to follow to connect these stone tablets, which will then melt into the ground and create a permanent teleportation circle between there and Kaladari. So Vondor tells you you have to make sure that this is somewhere safe and secure where people just can't go, you know, willy-nilly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cooler than chalk. Yeah. So she'll. I think it says it's chalk in the book, and I was like, all right. I mean, sure, that's gonna rub away, but. Yeah, okay, cool. That's all she needs. She'll just make sure to set it up somewhere that has multiple layers of hiddenness and security and all that. Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty, cool. Suni, I think I heard you.
Yeah, I was just gonna do the way less sweet thing, and I know that we're technically already past this, but Suni's Thieves Guild instincts would kick in when he sees an important dead body. And I'm after, and I assume it's right when Bianca's like feeling bad for him and being like, how did this happen? And Suni's just pulling his fingers, trying to see if there's any letters or things of value there. He's mostly looking for like letters, but also if valuables are there, he will take them.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's important.
Okay.
Yeah,
Suni,
loot his body.
You do find one thing of interest.
Ooh.
Within his satchel, there's not very much that he carries on him, aside from a few rations, a few materials. He does have on him a collection of 3 different stones. You'd recognize these are sending stones.
Ooh. Okay, well,
there's
I'll
3 different
swipe
ones.
them.
So I will say,
Oh, shit.
There is, let me double check here. There is one blue one. There is one green one. And then there is one yellow one.
Okay, he does not know what any of this means. He probably does not recognize them as sending stones. I don't know, maybe he does, but he'll take them because they're pretty.
Okay. Alrighty. So you collect those. Oh, and thank you, Live and Let's Die. That's a great name. Thank you for the raid so much. That's awesome. So with that, as all of you are gathering your items, Balder having just died in the throne room of King Borelli, you all having witnessed the chaos that Loki is bringing about in this time and place, you all can tell, even in this small moment, in this isolated space, this area where rivers had flown, where wondrous magics had been created, there's a subtle chill that blows throughout this mountain home. All of you gather your things and you move towards the underways. As you do, Vondor takes out the device. He does the 18-second mechanical and arcane whizzing to create the doorway into the underways, and all of you begin to dart and dash through. As Vondor and King Borelli said, it would be several hours of running in order to get to Maester, to get far away from this city, especially considering the underways in this current moment. You have no idea of what time of day it is outside. As Vondor looks at the small device he has to investigate this, you have some daylight, but daylight is running out. So all of you begin to run and run and run as fast as you can in order to get to Maester, to get to this place where you know people need you. You've already spent a lot of time within this city, and it's now time for you to get back to the mission at hand, saving the people of the Old Kingdom and rescuing the people of Balaclara. All of you begin to make your way through the underways, running as fast as you can. You can see the solemn stone statues of the dwarven kings and lords, of the craftsmen, of the blacksmiths that used to call home to this place. You can see the light of torches continue to burn until eventually they fade. A coldness sweeps through the cavern. You can hear creatures yelling in the darkness behind you. You can see a very few creatures that you've seen before, that attacked you before. You can see them chasing after you. You can see that you are literally racing against the clock right now. The light that illuminates these caves is slowly getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So right off the bat, I need all of you to make athletics checks. As you have been running for a while, this is to keep up your stamina, to see if you can keep up the pace with everybody else.
I might use a point of luck.
Oh. What about acrobatics? Can I ballet my way through?
Dancing through life.
Yeah, I'm skipping.
10?
Hell yeah. With the luck point, it was a 9.
This ain't good, guys.
But what was yours, Ajax?
I rolled a 3 plus 8.
You're meant to be our strong boy.
Yo.
I just got punched by a boulder, bro.
You're
I'm a little
meant to be our
dazed.
strong boy. Pull us all together.
Okay, let's get a roll from
You're
Keothi.
the fastest one.
13.
Guys! Okay, good.
Keothi. Hell yeah. She just got brought back to life and she's already beating us all.
You can see
She's not
Keothi
dying again.
is running as fast as she can as well, but she's keeping pace with Ajax. What was your total?
8, 11.
11. Wow. Okay. Alrighty.
Can I use the Great Spear to pole vault myself?
Okay. Vondor's looking at a 24 right now. He's looking pretty good.
Leaving us in the
Damn,
dark.
man, he knows the path. He's just like right here, left coming. He's like a GPS. Left coming up in 20 feet. All right, go.
Okay. Alrighty. So you can hear the gnashing and screaming of the creatures behind you, just wishing to get a hold of you, to take you into the darkness that they found themselves in. All of you running as fast as you can, using as much of your stamina, but Carasilla, Cecily, and then Suni, what did you roll?
An 11.
11? Okay. So Carasilla and Cecily, you are just not able to keep up pace. Bianca and Suni, you're not able to help anybody either. You are just barely hanging on. But luckily, Ajax and Keothi, they can sort of retreat a little bit and, well, no, not Ajax, sorry, Vondor. Vondor and Keothi are able to retreat a little bit, having rolled just a little bit higher, and are able to keep up Carasilla and Cecily in that moment so you don't fall behind. However, as you two specifically are near the back, before Vondor and Keothi run back to the two of you, these creatures that are looming in the darkness do begin to lash out and strike at you.
Am I able to act before they do, knowing they're like right on our heels?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to be... Oh, I rolled a little bit less than Cecily, but I guess probably yell out of her, hopefully, so I can then touch her and Dimension Door just that little bit further, 500 feet, just as far as you can.
Okay.
Just to give them that boost.
Yeah, I will allow that. In that moment, you feel the creatures begin to rush out at you. You see Keothi and Vondor begin to retreat just a little bit, but immediately you teleport, you Dimension Door in front of them by a good long while. And you can see the two of them nod, and they continue running, leaving Ajax, Bianca, and Suni at the back instead of Carasilla and Cecily. The two of you keep up your pace. You continue running. Luckily, all of you avoided taking any damage in that round, but you still have at least 30 more minutes of running to do before you get there. So I'm going to need another athletics check from all of you.
Damn. I may use luck again. Let's see.
Much better for me.
Only one better for me.
Hey!
Oh, the
I'll
exact
keep it.
fucking same.
Oh no.
She's gassed now.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is
Gemma,
Bioshock Infinite, isn't
Priscilla
it?
and Cecily on the comeback.
Yeah, man. Fuck that shit. We saw death. Bye.
Ajax?
23.
23? Okay. Let's see what
I
Keothi's
have a
looking like.
question, though.
Yeah.
Once everyone said their stuff.
15. Okay. Yeah, so I will say in that moment, the only person that begins to fall behind is Vondor with a 9. You can see, having used all of his stamina in that first round, he immediately begins to fall back, heaving for breath. Ajax, however, you can move to the back line if you want to try and help him. What's your question?
As I'm passing him, I assume I'm running past him, right?
You would, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to run past, as I'm running past, grab the Great Spear. How long is the Great Spear?
It's probably, how tall is Ajax?
Almost, I think he is 7 feet something.
So it's about 8 feet, maybe 8 feet and 4 inches.
Okay, so
It's
as
a
he's
good,
running
good while
past,
taller than him.
he's going to yell out, "Grab!" And just wait for him to grab the spear.
Yeah, Vondor will grab it.
He's gonna,
Holy
he's
shit!
going to, like a lacrosse stick,
Oh my god.
but not like in the air. He's gonna like kind of like, he's gonna shot put him forward. But
Okay.
able
Yeah,
to,
like
Okay.
like when
catch
you
his
like those little kids that you're bringing on like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you like
Yeah.
pull
I'm gonna-
them forward.
I'm gonna have Vondor make a dexterity saving throw to see if he lands all right.
Throw
I'll
me.
pick him up. Don't worry, guys. I'll just pick him up if he doesn't.
Okay, that's a 16. Yeah, I'll say you thrust him forward and he kind of does like a roll and then back to standing and uses the momentum to keep running forward. However, Ajax, since you retreated, you can see those creatures do lash out at you as you are running in the back line, having stuck there. So
No, I would be raging.
Ajax, you're gonna take 27 points of damage. As you can
They hit
see,
me?
yeah, they hit you.
Oh,
Just
fuck.
being on the back line, they swing out, slashing and thrashing towards you, and you can see these shadowy tendrils reach out, cutting and lacerating into your back as you are just barely able to edge out in front of them. And you can tell that if you would have fallen back any further, that the damage would have been even more significant. Yeah.
Can I? This is probably really dumb. Can I use a superiority dice to do a what is it? A repose? And as I get sliced, just out of pure reaction, just swing the spear in a circle and just cut everything that's near me.
Yeah, roll
And
damage.
try to like, yeah, okay. Just trying to make them back off, just to know that, oh wait, these things also can hurt us. Heaven's Breath. 23.
Okay, 23, and your superiority die?
Oh, it's a D8.
Okay.
I also have a question when he's done.
Okay. So 27
so-
total?
Yep.
All right, Cecily, what's your question?
Is there any natural wind down here?
Yes, there wasn't before, but you can tell that there is a cold wind now blowing through the tunnel.
All right, I'm gonna seize the opportunity to use Storm Guide, which gives me, as a bonus action, if it is windy, you can choose the direction that the wind blows in a 100-foot radius sphere centered on me. So, I mean, that's 100 foot either way. Should cover everything that's relevant.
Correct, yeah.
I want it to push all the monsters away and to give us a nice breeze. Just want to do that, and I'll get like toward the back in order to do that. Just kind of like and fucking ang, and
Okay.
and then hopefully that gives them some penalty and us a bonus or something.
Okay, alrighty. Sounds good. So as you cast that spell, I'll go ahead and say that it gives advantage to all of you in this next final athletics check. So all of you, you can feel the final stretch happening. All of you take athletics checks with advantage.
Oh yay.
Thank God.
That first one was at 20.
Hey!
Your advantage. Aha.
Man, I still not good. I mean, not bad. It's 9. Not the worst, but not the best.
Okay, Keothi's with a 25.
24.
Okay, 24, 25, nat 20, 2 nat 20s. Suni?
17.
17. Bianca?
9.
Okay. Alrighty. Vondor is there with a 15. So all of you begin running except Bianca. You can feel yourself falling back and falling back. The wind is trying to gust you forward, and the creatures are trying to reach for you, but the wind is pushing them back. However, there still are a few creatures that are able to lash out, not nearly as severe as before, but still.
And I shadow slide myself forward.
You want to shadow slide?
What's
Yes.
happening?
Okay. All right.
What's wrong with shadow
Yikes.
slide?
So,
Why did you make
Bianca,
me do that?
you in that moment you attempt to cling to the shadows to slide forward. But as you
Yep.
cling to the shadows in that moment, the shadows pull you back. As the sunlight was the thing protecting
guys.
you in this moment. All of you looking behind, you see Bianca cling to the shadow and immediately fall back into the darkness. You can see Vondor gets to the end and he begins whirring the device, and you have one opportunity to get out in that moment. Bianca is in the shadowy creatures behind you. What are you doing?
I want to
burn
do something.
two-dimension door. Oh shit, okay.
Ajax is just going to see this happen, and just yell, "No!" And I'm going to use Daunting Roar as a bonus action. All creatures within 10 feet need to make a Wisdom save or become frightened.
Okay. All right. I will say that as Bianca falls back, they are going to thrash at her initially. Just all of the ones that are there before that.
And I do have a follow-up after Ajax's thing that I think could be useful in this moment.
Okay. So you will take 30 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
Yikes.
Ajax, you roar. You make. I'm gonna have 4 wisdom saving throws. What's the DC?
16.
16. Okay, that's 1 success, 2 successes. That's cocked. Failure. And success. So you can see one of the hordes of enemies, they do begin to retreat out of fear from the roar, but 3 of them still hang around, still tearing and lashing into Bianca. Bianca, you said you had a question?
No, I had a follow-up thing I could do actually, since she's in combat now.
Okay.
So since she's now in combat, she can actually use her angelic wings that she gets from her Reaper's Toll sword. So I would assume that as soon as she takes a slash at one of them, she'll just bamf out those wings and then try and flee, and it's 40 movement speed. So
Okay.
try and basically get out of that.
That would be enough to get you out of there. So do you make an attack as part of that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she
So-
has to technically.
Yeah,
so.
go ahead and roll damage. No, you don't even need to roll to hit. There's enough of them around you where you just kind of blindly swing and you hit some.
Yeah.
Okay, 20
There you
points of damage. You slash out. There is this bright flash of white radiant energy. Some of the creatures hiss as they are sort of retreating back into that shadow. As the angelic wings spring from your back, you begin to launch yourself forward. They're going to make an attack of opportunity against you to try and grab you and pull you back. Okay. So that is I think that hits even with your new AC, the 21.
What is my new AC? I still have it at 16, so.
Oh, it
I mean,
should
21
be,
hit.
Yeah, it should be one more
the
than that
new-
because so it's 17 is your new AC. Okay,
I'll
so
need to fix that after this.
that's okay. I need you to make an athletics or acrobatics check to
It
attempt
will
to
be
escape the grapple.
acrobatic. Wow. Yay! 25! Woo! Much
25.
better.
Okay. Alrighty. So Bianca, in that moment, you take 22 points of necrotic damage this time around.
Okay.
As one of the groups of creatures had retreated, so the damage was lowered because of that. And you are able to, you can feel these shadowy tendrils grip around your legs and thighs, attempting to rip you back into the shadow, but you are able to wiggle and writhe your way out of them and burst out into the light that is still within the room, within the underways. And you can see that Vondor eventually finishes casting the spell, slams down the device, the stone opens, and with your wings still on you, you are able to fly in that passageway as all of the rest of you run up with her, having escaped the shadows of the underways. But now, instead, what you begin to feel is this chilling, cold mist. You hear a monstrous blizzard bearing down. Rampant snowfall, frozen icy rivers all around you. You remember in your letter they talked about how Maester was a city buried in snow. And you can only imagine that it is worse now because of the death of Balder. All of you look upon this massive city, a fortress, a bastion of light and warmth in an otherwise frozen wasteland. Built on a rocky outcropping, hills and mountains to its left and right. You can see there is a large moat that surrounds the city that currently is nothing more but land. As you can see, there are these giant lifts that have been built into the city walls to lift snow out of the city and dump them into the moat that sits around the city. You can see a bridge covered in ice and snow in front of you, and in the gatehouse you can see red, yellow, and orange lights, warmth, as you see something very similar to this. You see the city
If
of
someone could
Maester.
share their screen, that'd be really cool. I'm sorry.
Oh, I can do it.
Thank you.
You see the city of Maester in front of you. You can tell at one point in time this would have been a beautiful city. Rolling green fields around it. Beautiful moat protecting it. Decorated stone walls and towers, but now it is an echo of its former life. You can hear thunder crash in the distance, lightning and snow. You're not sure if it's in response to what happened with Balder, but you at least know that the sigils on you protect you for the next week. It's been several days since you've been out in the material plane, in this portion of it. The cold is biting, especially for what's supposed to be a warm spring day. As all of you make your way towards the city itself, towards the gate, ready to help the people of this town, you are unable to initially, because instead you hear these harsh noises of magic behind you and in front of you. You see, breaking through these portals as if they were crashing through ice, emerge these heavily armored soldiers. Ice and plate mail surround them. These frozen auras embrace them. You can see that covering this blackened steel plate, there is a sheet of ice, several inches thick. There are two of these large, hulking monsters of men, and then several other icy creatures that exit from the portals as well. You can see all of them exit and look at you, flanked on both sides, creatures around you. As all of you look around these icy creatures bearing down on you, ready to attack, you all can hear a voice coming from up above the walls. "More monsters at the gate! Open fire!" And you can see there is a volley of bright orange crossbow bolts that fling towards the bridge. This brief glimpse of warmth and sun descending down your way. As the bolts fly, and as these monstrous icy creatures prepare to attack, that is where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session. Woo!
Jesus.
So there we go.
Christ.
Man.
Woo. That is it. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a wonderful, wonderful, fun session. Had a lot of close calls. And now we have our companions going into their first fight against the spawn of House Damaris. A little light on their abilities, light on their HP for some of them. It's gonna be a close one. And on top of that, we got some friendly fire coming in too. So
do they see us? It's kind of blurry.
I mean, they see
More
you.
monsters at the gate. They all just hit us and miss the
It is a volley of crossbow bolts, so I mean, what can you do, you know?
Yeah.
Cecily's like, hey, I got one.
God.
Alrighty.
Christ.
So here we are. We are in the beginning stages of the end of Act 2 for Salamander Coast.
Wow.
The beginning of the end of the middle.
Long form storytelling, yay!
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, as soon as you guys finish up in the Old Kingdom, we're in the end game then, not now. So thanks for watching, everybody. It was wonderful to see so many new people. I will say that if you are new here, not only do we have the Twitch channel, which you should definitely follow, but our VODs are posted on YouTube. That's weird that it's not Emeril this time around. It's Streamlabs. Get out of here. Nobody wants you. You can check out the YouTube channel there. We also do have a Discord channel that you can check. It's not Emeril again. I feel lied to. I feel betrayed. Backstabbed. I am very excited for the things that are to come in the campaigns. And if you'd like to know more, please feel free to join the Discord server. Ask there. We do have abridged stories there. And also, something that we just started doing recently is a little bit of variety streaming on here. So we recently started playing Elden Ring with Seamless Co-op, which has been a lot of fun. 4 people playing Elden Ring all at once, like open world everything. If you've ever played it, you can understand how that could be a lot of fun. So feel free to check back. We have Everend tomorrow, which is a banger of a campaign, DM'd by John,
PvP
all the way down
Rumble,
there.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we got a Royal Rumble tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. There we got some intentional PvP. Saturday we have the Isles, or Sunday this week we have the Isles of Iverion. They're in the Astral Sea, in the City of Pain, which is like hell in the sea. It's like Doom, pretty much. Doom and Hellraiser combined. That's the best way to think of it. So that's a lot of fun as well. And of course, next Tuesday, we got the Salamander Coast. Honestly, we got a lot of good stuff going on. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it all greatly. And we'll see you next time. Wow.